You're strapped in to a live radio broadcast on Pure Rock Radio.
Just about everyone and their dog has a website or uses a domain name like yourname.com. Thanks to our partnership with GoDaddy, the leader in hosting and domain name registration, we can offer all our listeners big savings on everything GoDaddy offers. Go to purerockradio.net/GoDaddy for a full list of coupon codes to save on hosting your website, registering your domain name, and much more. You can even switch to GoDaddy anytime to start saving, and our coupon codes will never expire. Every time you use one of our coupon codes, it benefits you, Pure Rock Radio, and all the shows we carry. So thanks for visiting purerockradio.net/GoDaddy today. Try coupon code POD167 to save 10% off your GoDaddy purchases today.
Welcome to the Used Bin. All music, all the time. What are you listening to? Used Bin Radio.
Look out! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Used Bin Radio. We are so delighted that you could join us here tonight for our little Tuesday night get-together where we like to talk about tunes. We like to talk about tunes. We like to tell you what we've been listening to. We like to hear what you've been listening to.
Yes.
How you doing, brother man?
I'm ruling the world.
I'll bet you are.
Yes, I am. I am feeling good, back to normal, and really excited about tonight's really, really big rock and roll extravaganza on Used Bin Radio.
We do indeed have a rock and roll extravaganza. So let me explain to you people how this works. Particularly you new folks. If there's any Marillion fans in the listening audience tonight that are joining us for the first time, welcome into the bin. So here's what we got going on. If at any point during the evening you want to give us a call, you need only dial 888-405-7440 or drop us an email at usedbinradio@usedbin.com. This will come in handy when we have our featured guest this evening. We're very excited to have legendary Marillion drummer Ian Mosley joining us in the studio tonight in a very rare U.S. appearance.
In the flesh.
In the flesh. So we are going to be getting our Marillion on in a big way tonight.
It's a big show.
And if you have any questions for Ian, anything you always wanted to know about Marillion, here is your chance. So once again, 888-405-7440 or
usedbinradio@usedbin.com. We will do everything we can to get all your questions answered tonight, but let me tell you, take advantage of this opportunity because it doesn't happen often where a member of Marillion stateside in studio willing to take questions. So like Joe said, anything you want to know, anything you've needed to know, anything you have to know, tonight's probably your chance to do that. So pick up the phone and don't be shy.
That's right, because tonight, indeed, you can find a better way of life at usedbin.com.
Damn right.
Been waiting a long time to say that.
You know, you can always find a better way of life here. It just feels right saying it tonight, doesn't it?
It does.
That's right.
So, so we're very excited about our featured guest. We'll probably bring Ian on in, 45 minutes to an hour from now.
Sure.
But we're here for 3 hours, 180 action-packed minutes of fun. We're going to get you some good, juicy, rare live tracks later tonight from one band, a Marillion. And so we're going to get to all of that good stuff. We also have lots of music to talk about. And at some point during the evening, we will have another very special person in the room, making it smell that much sweeter.
As she always does.
Rachel, the Metal Warrior Princess, will be in the house, hopefully in the house.
Yes.
Giving us all the latest music news. And
smelling good.
So you'll be up to speed.
That's right. We have a lot. It's a big show tonight. It's very, very exciting. But there's, we should probably mention here at the top of the show,
yes,
just because we're listening to it, and I didn't even think we were going to get into it, but maybe we should just for a minute. Is yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of the passing of our boy Ronnie James Dio.
RJD.
Yes.
R.I.P. RJD.
R.I.P. RJD. So I hope everybody crank their Holy Diver or their Last in Line or Rainbow Rising or Elf or
Angry
Machines or Heaven and Hell, whatever it is you chose to crank. I hope you did it last night. Raise your devil horns.
Dehumanizer, anyone?
Me.
I know.
I'm in.
I know.
TV Crimes, good morning. So yes, I hope you raised your devil horns and had a drink for Ronnie, since it's I can't believe it's been a year.
I know.
It's nuts.
I mentioned I mentioned last week that it was a year ago, or just about a year ago, that I was at the funeral,
right,
out here in Forest Lawn, where Eddie Trunk was sort of emceeing the event. A lot of tributes from people who had played with Ronnie. It was a very heartfelt event, and really kind of put a very personal face on a really tragic situation for a guy that most people only know as that rocking guy. But of course, through all the tributes and all the discussion we've heard since in the last year, by all accounts, a really, really likable, nice guy.
I always thought the most interesting thing about Ronnie was that you never ever heard a bad thing about him.
That's right.
It's very rare. And I read a nice article last week in Classic Rock magazine about the making of Rainbow Rising, and through all of Richie Blackmore's wackiness and everything that went on, and with Jimmy Bain and all of that kind of stuff,
and Vinny Appice
and Vinny Appice. But you never heard a bad thing about Ronnie. Ronnie wasn't the guy that was going out drinking every night and doing that. Ronnie was the cerebral kind of, keep it all together. He was sort of the glue that made everything stick. And you heard that about him with everything. And he talk about a guy that could endure an incredible career. I mean, obviously, if you want to start with Ronnie and the Redcaps, right? And then moving into Elf, and then Rainbow and Sabbath, and then Dio, and then back with Sabbath.
That's quite a resume you just listed.
It's just amazing, and he really endured.
And Heaven and Hell.
And Heaven and Hell, right. He always did it with integrity, and that was what I thought was so great about Ronnie. So it's sad that he's gone.
And he liked his curry.
And he liked his curry. Yeah. He was just a good dude, and his baseball. Liked his curry, and he liked his baseball. And so he's an impressive guy. There should be more guys like Ronnie Dio in the business, that's for sure.
That's fair.
So that was yesterday.
Funny you mentioned classic rock in there, because before we get to our usual banter about what we've been listening to, I want to cut to the chase and just tell you that my buddy Josh was kind enough to bring me an extra copy of the most recent issue of Classic Rock magazine on the stands, one with Aerosmith on the cover.
Oh, yeah?
Nice vintage 1975 or 1976 photo of Stephen and Joe. But like Classic Prog magazine and Classic Rock magazine, I love that they both come with I hate to call it a complimentary CD, because you end up paying $37.50 for the magazine, so you're paying for that CD. But it always comes with
nothing complimentary about it.
But it always comes with a nice CD of some stuff you've heard and some new stuff that you get turned on to. And I gave that CD a listen, and this particular issue of the Classic Rock CD series is all, I wouldn't say known bands, but fairly known bands, doing all classic covers.
Okay.
And there's some band, I don't even remember who they were, doing a very credible version of Queen's Bicycle Race. There's Vince Neil, who I got to say sounds better than I've heard him in years, doing a cover with the Vince Neil Band, not with Motley, but doing a cover of off of the Rocks album, Aerosmith's Nobody's Fault.
And he does it well?
He does it really well. Really well. So
you don't say that very often.
No, I don't.
We don't mention the words Vince Neil and really good in the same sentence
Yeah,
very often at all.
not very often. Not since Leather Records, anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But
that's definitely true.
But some very good stuff on that classic rock CD.
From what I understand too, they're releasing, because the last issue I got, and I can't even remember who's on the cover now, there was a second CD in there, and I think they're going to start putting they're going to start giving you like a 6-song sampler of a lesser known band. So you get 6 songs from their record or whatever. So you get a little taste.
That's a good idea. There's got to be some payola involved in that, right?
Yeah,
for classic rock to be pushing an unknown band, they got to be getting some kind of kickback from these bands or their labels.
I'm all for that's okay. I mean, any way you can find new good rock bands, that's okay. Don't you think?
Sure.
I mean, I have no problem.
You know how I find out about a lot of good new rock bands? Used Bin Radio.
Because you listen to the podcast?
I listen to the podcast, and I'm glad you mentioned that, brother man, because if you people are listening live and you're saying, wow, I really like this show, but I can't always stay up late enough because I'm in England, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, or
in Missouri,
or I work late, and I can't always stay up to listen to these guys, although I really like what they're talking about.
Or you're in Hamilton, Ontario.
You could be there.
You never know.
And if you are, what you do is you go to usebin.com and you can download podcasts of all of our previous shows.
You could be in Jackson, Mississippi right now.
You could be. And
it's too late.
And if you're listening to a podcast of the show tonight, well, then you already know this.
That's right. So there you go. That's right. Podcast, usebin.com.
Exactly.
What have you been listening to, man? What have you been up to this
You want to go there?
Well, hang on a second. No, I'll tell you what. I should probably mention that I finally saw Thor this weekend.
Yeah.
Yes.
I loved it. What did you think?
I loved it. And this is the one, we talked about it a few weeks ago. I was nervous about this movie.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Because of all the Marvel movies, this is the one that had the potential to stretch the limits of your imagination.
Because everything seems to be grounded. Yeah, everything seems to be grounded. These Avengers superhero movies, there's some sense of reality that they're based on. Yeah. And this was certainly Asgard. There's no such thing as that reality. Yeah. However, there's always an aspect of science or technology that creates these characters, but this one was a whole different deal. They just nailed it. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I just wanted to tell you, I really enjoyed it. In fact, I would tell you it's right up. I mean, it's better than the Hulk movies, I thought, and I liked the last Hulk movie. But this is really good, and they really set you up, the previews-wise anyway, for Captain America, which is going to be great. Yeah. And then there's the Motherlode in next year. Yeah, I'm so excited. The Avengers movie will just be unbelievable. I've waited all my life for that movie. Yeah, it's going to be big. Yeah. They really nailed the formula finally. Yeah. So happy. They definitely have. Yeah. So I finally saw Thor in the 3D, by the way. If you haven't seen it and you're nervous about the 3D, I thought it was spectacular. And I'm not the biggest 3D fan in the world. Spectacular. It is well worth the extra few bucks. Go see it in 3D. Agreed. Agreed. Okay, go ahead. On with the show. Well, actually, before we get on the show, I want to make a personal announcement. I just wanted to send out some Are you pregnant? No, I just want to send out some hi, hello, how are you, good greetings to my Kimberly, because tonight is our anniversary. Oh, happy anniversary. Love you, baby. Very nice. And, so if I can't be with... How many years? 14 years. Wow. 14 years. 14 years ago today, you were on the beach with me at at our little shindig. Yeah, at the wedding. Good times. I remember. Good times. Damn good times. And if of course, we'll have a little post-show anniversary romance. But if I can't be with Kimberly for the duration of our anniversary evening, at least I could be with a member of Marillion. There you go. So I guess that's a good consolation. That's right. Well, that's not so bad. No, that's all good. Well, you get the best of both worlds. That's what Sammy said, anyway. That's what Sammy said, That's right. Yeah. All right, so what have you been listening to? Well, I have been listening to a lot of good stuff. On one of the podcasts of our shows from, I want to say it was even the show while I was at the Marillion convention. Yeah. Who's this? This is Third Strike. A band, Third Strike. This is the band that used to be the Dime Store Hoods. Ah, okay. Right. I remember the Dime Store Hoods. They had one single, this band, Third Strike, they called Flow Heat, I think was the name of the single. But I like this guy. Jim Corthy was a good singer.
You think they've been listening to Disturbed recently?
And this record's way before Disturbed was even signed. Oh yeah, this record came out early 90s, very early 90s, like 92-ish, 93-ish.
It's heavy.
Maybe? Yeah. And Jim Corthy sounds, a singer, had that Ozzy tone. Not here, obviously, but when he
That's
sings.
more like a Rage Against the Machine tone.
Jim's dead now, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just found that out about a year or so ago. I didn't realize that, but yeah. I thought these guys were good. No, I liked the Dime Store Hoods a little better, but this wasn't a bad record.
I remember you liked them.
I did. Those were... We talk about dangerous shows when you go to a show and you're not quite sure what's going to happen. That was a show, man, you'd go to and you weren't sure if a riot was going to break out or if the band was going to play a full set. That was a rough gig. Those guys were... San Pedro gangsters would come up and see those guys, and you just didn't know what was going to happen.
That's fair.
Oh, good time. There's
fair.
nothing fun. That was fun. Man. I'd go into that show, and you have to look over both shoulders. It's fun.
Very nice.
Yeah. Anyway,
well, I was listening to a podcast, and like I said, I think it was probably the night when I was in northern England, just prior to the Marillion convention in Holland. And I think it was, I don't even remember who it was, but one of our loyal listeners, emailed with the topic. And I think you and Rachel kicked the topic around for a little while. And the topic was, are there any records, albums, CDs, whatever? Is there any music that you listen to that's seasonal for you and that reminds you of a specific season? Mm-hmm. And I definitely have one of those.
Okay.
And that is, for whatever reason, it is the sunniest day of the sunniest day of summer every time I put on the Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe album. Which is weird, because you would expect me to say, a Beach Boys record or something like that. Something that's quintessential Southern California lifestyle or something tropical.
Right.
But, or something like Francis Dunnery.
Hey, Frankie.
Hey, Frankie.
Welcome to the show. Didn't sound like he was actually on the show for a minute.
Hi, Frankie.
Right. Nice.
But I actually remember why. I was sitting on a beach. I was sitting on Newport Beach in July, the summer that came out. I want to say that was like the summer of 89 or 90, when the Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe album came out. And this was a good record for me, because we had just come off like 90125 and Big Generator, which were good records, but
pop era.
But for the yes purist in me, I was longing for something a little more hardcore. Mm-hmm. And so the Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, Howe record came out. I loved it, listened to it in my car all the time. And this one day, I think it was 4th of July weekend, I'm down at Newport Beach, beautiful sunny day, and I walked into this little burger shop down by the pier. And they had a little jukebox there, and it was one of those jukeboxes where, at the time, for $1, you could play an entire CD.
Oh yeah.
And it was all, Thriller and Fleetwood Mac Rumors and Boston's first album and all the obvious albums.
Right.
And in the midst of all this, they had the Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe album. So I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I remember, sitting on this little table, looking at the ocean, watching the waves, with the sun beating on my face, listening to Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe. And so every time I hear that record now, it brings me back there. It's very much a seasonal record. And the other night, I put it on, and I'm listening to The Order of the Universe.
Nice.
Which is the greatest title in prog history.
Yeah.
And just going, wow, it feels like summer.
Nice. Well, that's very good. I don't have those kinds of records like that. Like, the only moments I have like that are if I'm in the summer, in the heat of the summer, especially in the San Fernando Valley in California, when it's 106, 108, and I'm either maybe sitting in the backyard or at the beach or whatever, somewhere like by the water. I need to put on really long prog songs.
Yeah,
I want to hear 30-minute epics. So I like that. Like, I'll listen to 6 Degrees, Dream Theater, or I'll listen to Scenes from a Memory.
Or The Revealing Science of God. Or Gates of Delirium.
Well, I have to listen to the whole record, though. Especially that, because every song's long. It's great. And it's just, I love doing that, because you can fall so deep into that kind of thing. And but otherwise, I don't get into Christmas records or something where I do, something that reminds me seasonally anyway. I'm just not that. I'm not that guy. But I'm really, I have to. I'm sporadic when it comes to what I listen to. I wake up and I'm in a mood, and that's what I'll put on. Like, I mean, really, and lately it's always been, it's been some of this new stuff we've been into, like The Deer Hunter or Reign of Kindo or stuff like that.
Or
Dredge, yeah.
Who we had on the show last week. Check out the podcast.
Right. So it's that kind of thing for me. And then, I'll like flip a switch and I'll like put on Black Sabbath.
That's a good switch.
Yeah, but that's what happens to me. I'm just weird like that. I can't get in. I don't ever flow.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I actually don't have a lot of those records that are seasonal either, but for some reason that record always brings me back to summer, and it doesn't matter how warm or sunny it is outside. If I put on the Johnny Mathis Christmas album, suddenly it is the holiday season, and I'm feeling like I start need to writing cards.
Suddenly your testicles get all the way inside of your stomach.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah. And your voice raises a few octaves.
What do you mean?
That's just, see, you should never admit that kind of thing, especially when you're listening to the beauty of Francis Dunnery.
Hello, Frankie.
Good Lord, man. So you had a little Anderson Wakeman Bruford now?
I did.
Nice.
And along the same sort of prog lines, I was on another one of my little Gentle Giant kicks. And my buddy Josh, who not only hooked me up with that nice classic rock magazine, he hooked me up with a couple of CDs the other day, which I never owned. I'm sort of old school when it comes to Gentle Giant, and their first 4 records are sort of their, progressive finest.
Right.
And then the next batch of records they put out after that, like Power and the Glory and Interview and some of the mid-period stuff, that's really solid stuff. But there were 3 albums that they put out at the tail end of the 70s and early 80s that to this day I had never heard before, even though I fancy myself a prog diehard and I need to hear all this stuff. But they put out these 3 records, like Giant for a Day, and a couple of records at the tail end of their career where I heard them for the first time this week, and they really were making some efforts to try to, I guess a lot of prog bands were around that period of time, they were really trying to segue into more of a marketable band.
A mainstream
band. And so, I mean, there's sort of musical references to like what Genesis was doing like around the time of like Trick of the Tail, which by prog standards that's classic, but by Gentle Giant's obscure standard, that's very, very mainstream for them. And so some of it's really good and very melodic, but some of it just it seems really forced, like there's a gun to somebody's head. There's an A&R man with a gun to somebody's head.
But that's always my problem with Gentle Giant, is it's too abstract for me. It's just too off the deep end. I need some, there's got to be some connection between what I'm listening to. And with Gentle Giant, it never has felt like that.
There's no point of reference.
I just can't get into it.
Yeah.
I don't always need big choruses and hooks and melodies, but I need something to latch onto. I need something where I can, this is it. I feel the thread.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of that with Gentle Giant, and that's why ELP is like that sometimes.
That's fair.
Sometimes
that's
it's
fair.
like, I mean,
you could listen to Lucky Man and go, hey, this is mainstream, but you put on Toccata,
well,
that's a whole different ballgame.
They're 2 different bands, ELP.
Yeah, that's true.
There's definitely the Lucky Man side, and then there's the Tarkus side.
That's another one of those bands we've talked about, like Triumph or like Night Ranger, where there's 2 very specific types of songs that come out of that band.
But
ELP was like that because Greg Lake was always pushing the acoustic side and saying, "Come on, guys, let's do Lucky Man, let's do Still You Turn Me On, let's do C'est La Vie."
Keith Emerson ain't having it.
Emerson's like, what about Tarkus?
Dude, have you seen my cape?
Yeah.
You really think I'm going to do 30 minutes of Lucky Man? What are you, nuts? Yeah. Well, Triumph, though, even Triumph at their kookiest, proggiest, heaviest, you know what I mean? Note density-ist, if that's even a word. There's still some mainstream accessibility to it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whereas ELP or Gentle Giant, it's like, no, dude, we are art rock for art rock's sake.
Yeah, no, that's
and
fair.
We're going nuts.
That's fair. And in fairness, the stuff that I love most about ELP, and I am an ELP fan, but the stuff I love most is when those 2 camps blended well.
Right.
Because Keith was ready to do, well, not ready to do, he actually did do sidelong piano concertos on the Works album, or he would just go off the deep end. So did Carl Palmer. But when the 3 of them came together and they would do something like Carnival 9 or Pirates, which I still think is probably
you love that song.
Quintessential ELP. That's when they just knocked it out of the park,
right?
Or the stadium.
I understand.
Yeah,
I understand. I'm not against it. It's just not. It's just not my.
It's not your go-to.
No, it never has been for whatever. And again, it's that abstractness. I can latch on to the.
Did you say Greg Lake and has been in the same sentence?
Never.
Oh, okay.
Why would I ever do something silly like that? Come on now. But I do remember when we went and saw ELP. And I remember sitting there for the first 20 minutes going, these guys are just so great. And then going, just please reel me back in.
Yeah.
I'm begging you.
Yeah.
Like, throw me the lifeline, as Neil Morris would say.
Yeah. No, I remember. I'm pretty sure they opened with Tarkus that year.
Yeah. Which was great.
Which was like half hour long. So 20 minutes in, you needed to be reeled back.
I wanted the thread. Just give me something to latch onto that you can take me for the ride on.
Give me something to believe in, as Brett would say.
As Brett would say. I think we have a phone call. Hey, who's in the used bin?
Good evening, guys.
Oh, Darren, how are you, young man?
I'm good, thank you.
What's going on, buddy?
Well, you're talking about Canadian acts again, I see.
We tend to do that sometimes.
Always.
That's good.
Got one you want to plug?
Yeah, did you guys hear about famous Canadian producer Jack Richardson?
Who has he produced?
Well, he's produced, he actually helped the Guess Who get their start.
Okay.
I've heard of him.
He's also done some work with Alice Cooper.
I've heard of him.
Well, yeah.
Nightmare guy.
Yeah. Bob Seger, Max Webster.
Shit, okay.
He was the one that, he produced Battle Scar.
Oh, okay. So we
nice.
have him to thank for that.
Right. What's his name?
Yeah.
Jack Richardson?
Richardson.
Oh, his son is Garth Richardson. Garth, who's another big-time producer. That's his son stutters, and so that's true. His son stutters, and they call him.
That was messed up right there.
No, his business card is Garth.
Is it really?
Swear to God.
Okay, all right, then I guess it's okay.
You ask people in the music business, and you talk about Garth, and they'll say Garth. No joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as you're quoting his business card, I guess it's all safe.
And talk about coming full circle, actually, is Garth worked on a few of the Dime Store Hood songs, which is how I met him. And Joe Barresi, who produced a bunch of Tool records and produced this new Fair to Midland record, was the engineer on that record. And we talked all about the Battle Scar sessions. So
nice.
There you go. It all comes full circle.
The Universal Juveniles album.
Right.
Well,
nice.
That's pretty cool, Brad.
Yeah. Thank you.
Isn't that funny how that when I bring something up, it's like there's that connection again, right?
Yeah, I had to think about it for a minute. It took me a minute when you said Battle Scar, that's when it clicked.
It's all 6 degrees to Rush, right?
Well, yes, I know, yes. Well, I wanted to, like I say, mention this on air because if Rachel gives the news, I'm not sure if she's aware of it or it might get thrown in, but I wanted to acknowledge him. Because he's done some pretty important work for a lot of music,
Let me bury the lead then. Did something happen to him?
Well, it said that he passed away at age 81.
It's sad.
Of frail health and doesn't exactly say what it was. I'm sure it was probably natural causes.
Oh, that's sad.
But,
that's a shame.
But just from reading up on him, I had to look into this a bit more because Brave Words... the site, Brave Words and Bloody Knuckles posted something about it. Mm-hmm. Of course, you're right. It all stems back to Rush and Kim Mitchell and Alice Cooper and all those acts I just mentioned. So,
that's too bad. I didn't know that. Had we known, maybe we would open with Battle Scar tonight.
Yeah, right.
That's a shame.
Right.
Next week.
I'm glad you let us know because that's certainly, especially on this show and with the Rush connection that we have, it's certainly worth discussing. So thanks for bringing it up.
But that's cool, Brad. You should actually get Garth on the show.
I don't even know. I know he lives there in Canada, and I want to say Vancouver actually, but I don't know. I mean, it's been years and years. It would take a few phone calls to try to track him down, but that would be good.
Yeah,
he's got stories forever. I mean, he's produced a ton of people. So,
all right. Well, you got a homework assignment.
Certain connection too, apparently, according to the article.
Oh, I'm sorry. A what?
a Bob Ezrin connection. Producer Bob Ezrin,
That's right.
Pink Floyd.
So that would make sense for the Alice Cooper stuff, because Ezrin produced Welcome to My Nightmare.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, that would make sense. So, wow, that's interesting.
I forgot really. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Brad.
Oh no, that's okay. I was connecting the dots. So you got to remember, I'm not as smart as you or as Joe. So it takes me a minute for everything to click.
Oh, that's bullshit. You don't give yourself credit.
Wow, Darren's holding no punches tonight.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
And I had my Marillion question, but when's that guy coming on again?
Probably in the next half hour. We think we're just waiting for them to come through the door any moment.
We're waiting for the bat signal or the Marillion signal.
Okay.
Yeah. So, if you got a question, if you want, you can always email it, or if you want to call back with it, you can do that. Whatever you want to do, Darren. It's your call. It's your show, baby.
That's right.
I'm just trying to think of what I want to ask the guy.
This is our forum, so this is your night, bro.
That's right. Well, think about it and call us back or send us an email, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I'll be listening.
Thanks, partner.
All right, Darren. Thanks for the call, buddy.
And while we were just chatting with Darren, do you smell that? Do you smell that? It smells a little nicer in here all of a sudden. It's Rachel, the Metal Warrior Princess, has entered the building.
Good day, Rach.
Hi, guys.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. You look very nice tonight.
Thank you.
What's going on? Did you get dressed up for us?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I like to hear that.
Wanted to add a little professionalism in here.
Very nice. Very nice.
What are you trying to say, that I'm a slob?
No.
Joe always dresses nice.
He does.
Yeah.
I love your colors, too.
Oh, thank you.
What the fuck just happened? Whoa, easy.
All the testicles just rolled up.
Oh, my God.
They're delightful.
That's right.
Oh, here we go.
Cue that Johnny Mathis Christmas record, everybody. Wow, that's rough.
So, Rachel, since we were just talking about what we've been listening to, what have you been listening to?
Well, I've been listening to some Marillion.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
In preparation for tonight. So what Marillion have you been listening to?
I've kind of decided, since it was a crash course, to kind of do a little potpourri, a little mixture of throughout the years.
Okay.
And to my surprise,
yes,
I liked it.
All right. So, any standout tracks, or was there a record you gravitated toward?
Let's see. I'm sorry, I have these written down. I'm like, off the top of my head, I can't just spit them out.
Okay. All right. Well, while you're digging that out, I just got word that Ian Mosley is in the house. So I'm going to play some Marillion to get everybody in the mood right now. I don't know if this is one of the tracks that you listened to over the last couple of days, but for me, this is sort of where it all started. This is first track, first album, although this is a live version from more recent days, but this is Script for a Jester's Tear.
Self
What are you listening to? Used Bin Radio.
That's nice.
And welcome back to Usman Radio, boys and girls. Hey! That was a little script for Adjusters here, live version. And it's funny, we got Ian sitting in the studio with us right now. And during the tail end of that song, I just happened to notice that he was sort of air drumming with his fingers. It's very cute. It's very cute. So, Ian, welcome to America.
Thanks very much.
It's great to have you here. We talk about Marillion pretty much every week. We always tell our listeners that you can always find a better way of life at Marillion.com or Usman.com, and tonight that's definitely the case. So we're really excited to have you here. We want to talk about what's going on in the Marillion camp and the conventions that just took place. But before we get to any of that, we always like to ask our guests, what have you been listening to lately? What's in your MP3 player these days?
I don't know. Do I have an MP3 player?
8-track player?
I suppose, really, over the last few months, to be really honest, I've just been listening to Marillion because we had over 6 or 7 hours worth of music to learn.
You and me both.
But when we're not doing conventions, I usually listen to... I've got some System of a Down.
Nice.
Toxicity. That's one of my favourites.
I love that record. I'm a huge fan of that record.
Yeah, it's
really good stuff. Crazy stuff, but good.
It's really good. They're great, just a great band.
Mm-hmm.
And
creative.
Very creative. And I don't know, there's something that something about that band when I've seen them live, and they just mean it.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy going on there.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, they mean it, and they're real. They're good, really good.
I agree.
But otherwise, I mean, my stuff I listen to is all over the place. You know, from pop to progressive stuff to classical, everything to jazz. I'm all over the place.
Does it just sort of depend on the mood, or?
Yeah, a lot of the time it's the mood.
Right.
What guilty pleasures would we find in your record collection that Marillion fans would be really surprised about?
That's a loaded question.
Why are you
isn't
laughing? What's in my record collection, Lucy? Oh, Magma and Britney Spears. There you go.
First of all, I don't think anybody's ever uttered Magma and Britney Spears in the same sentence before. So right there, my head's ready to explode. I'll just get into this now because I was going to mention this anyway. But since you brought up Magma, the last time you were in LA, and we've talked about this at the convention, but the last time you were in LA, you took a look at my CD collection, and being the progressive fanatic that I am, I was very disappointed when you pointed out, after you assessed my CD wall, that I didn't have any Magma. So I had to go out and get some immediately to find out what I was missing. And even though I'm a prog fanatic, I had to admit they are too prog for me. There's a lot going on there. They're singing in another language. It's sort of fusion jazz and some kind of outer space thing going on. So when you're listening to Magma at home and you're relaxing, are you singing in another language?
Humming along in a different language. I usually put it on if I want to get people out of the house at dinner parties.
Sounds like that might work.
But I suppose, I mean, the Magma is formed by a guy called Christian Vander, who is the drummer. And it was formed, it's been going since the early 70s. And they are an extraordinary band. The original lineup's no longer there, but they're still touring here and there. I think. In fact, I think we did a festival was it last year or this year?
You're doing it in July.
July. Except they were on it.
It was really memorable.
It was really memorable, but they were on at a different time of day to us. So we missed them.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately. But they're just a fantastic band, and they're a one-off and an amazing drummer, a real inspiration.
Was Christian Vander's drumming style at all an influence on you?
Oh, big time, yeah. I mean, I think any young musician steals ideas from all their heroes. So, but he was one of the guys that I used to listen to a lot. I think his influences were very jazz-based. Guys like Elvin Jones, jazz drummer. Mm-hmm. But yeah, phenomenal player, and as I said, inspirational.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to let you off the hook, so where does Britney Spears fall into all that? Because there's no way I'm letting that go.
Well, I still like a really, I can appreciate a good pop song. And Marillion have kind of delved into doing a couple of Britney covers over the years.
Right. I know Joe's played a few of those for us. I think Joe's played a couple of those on the air, the Britney covers that Marillion's done.
Yeah, well, that's the great thing about the conventions. I don't want to get into the conventions because, not only do we get... we have somebody on the phone. Okay. We have a phone call for Ian.
That was quick.
I owe them money.
Hey, welcome to the Used Bin. Who's on the phone?
William McDaniel.
William, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you guys this week?
I'm good. Say hello to Ian Mosley.
Hello, Ian Mosley.
Hi, William. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. Bit jet lagged, but apart from that, I'm fine. Enjoying the LA sun.
It's raining here, William, if you can believe that.
It's raining here too. So.
All right, there you go. Well, you have a question for Ian?
Well, actually, I have 3 quick questions, if you guys don't mind.
Sure. Go ahead.
I was wondering if Ian had a favorite part that he's done in any of his music. I know that's probably kind of a hard question to answer, but if he has a favorite part of his, like mine would probably be the beginning of Incommunicado, or at Live from Cardigan Hall.
So is there
on 80s Days?
So is there a favorite piece maybe in one of the songs that you just love to play?
Whoa. I used to really enjoy playing...
And not including the Britney Spears cover.
It's harder than you think.
Come on, man, don't tell me that.
Yeah, the beginning of Incommunicado, what was that? It's all in 5/4, I think. It was, good fun to play, and it plays itself. But a lot of the stuff that's faster actually is easier to play a lot of the time. I used to really enjoy the beginning of Incubus, that track as well. We used to have quite a nice drum intro on that. And Punch and Judy, another enjoyable one. Garden Party.
So there's a few.
There's a few. I mean, yeah. I haven't really got a favourite, but tracks that I enjoy playing. I always enjoy playing Easter. Mm-hmm. It's just a very good arrangement, and a good arrangement plays itself.
Do you enjoy playing tracks that you've been playing for so many years, like over and over again? Does it still feel good to play live?
Yeah.
You never get sick of that?
No, I mean, the last couple of conventions we've done, the band sort of left after the gigs. We were all on a high, really, because the audience reaction was just incredible.
Yeah.
And the band's getting on very well, which is a major achievement after... I mean, we were formed just before electricity was invented, so, we're all on a high, and it was good fun. It was fun. The gigs were fun again, so,
yeah.
And that's the thing. But yeah, if we're playing exactly the same set every night, week in, week out, then yeah. But what we try and do is actually change the set as much as we can.
Right.
Usually kind of invent a set, and then we have 3 or 4 songs that are floating that we can chop and change.
So that keeps it fresh and exciting.
Yeah.
Good. William, you got another one?
Yeah, the other one was, I heard that you guys are going on tour, and was wondering if you could mention anything about hitting in Canada anywhere.
Canada?
So that I could go and see you guys.
Well, we just left Montreal a few weeks back. We played there, but I'm not sure at the moment. We've got to trying to get an American tour together for 2012. It's still very early stages of the planning, though.
When was the last time you did a proper Canadian tour?
Wow. I'll just ask my... I've got a team of experts on this.
We should mention that Lucy Jordache is also in the room, so Ian is deferring the business questions to Lucy right now.
2004, apparently, the last time we did a Canadian tour.
So that would have been the North American leg of the Marbles tour.
And William, you were just born then, right?
Yeah.
Where are you from, William?
I'm from Nova Scotia.
Okay, my sister lives in Lunenburg.
Yes, that's the other end of the province. I'm up on Cape Breton Island in Nova Scotia.
All right.
Good job, William. Thanks for the call, buddy.
Not a problem.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Just one more quick question.
Sure.
What would be the best way to get on the Marillion road crew to do sound?
It's a very technical question.
It's a tall order.
Yeah.
Would you work for free?
That's what I'm doing now.
Oh, we're making a little match here.
Well, it's a difficult one because I mean our crew. What do you say? Sound? You do sound?
Yeah.
What
sound.
Out front sound or stage sound?
Well, like right now, I'm just graduating high school in June, and I work doing sound. I do out front. I worked on Pro Tools, done stuff like that, just sort of all around at the theater, and then I'm going for a technical production course next year.
Well, I suppose really the best thing is it's very rare that we get jobs come up with us. I mean, we've got a very kind of tight crew around us that have been with us a long time. But occasionally things come up. Just keep. I'd keep looking at our website just in case, because if we need anybody, then we might mention it on there.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, William, you good?
Yes, I'm good.
All right, buddy. Thanks for the call.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you later.
Good luck.
Do you get that a lot? Ian, do people come up to you, longtime fans, and go, what is it going to take what do I need to do to get on the Marillion Road Crew? For free, by the way.
For free.
I don't know if you heard that part, for free.
Cheap.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, people do come up to us and ask us, but it's a really difficult one because, I mean, usually what happens, especially with like that guy wants to do sound, we'll find somebody that kind of serves an apprenticeship with us, and then we'll train them up, and then they'll be really good, and then usually someone will offer them a gig and they'll clear off.
Right. Right. Well, that's how it works.
And it's worth mentioning that the road crew for Marillion really, at least from my perspective, it really does sort of feel like a family. A lot of these guys have been there for a long time, and just the other day, actually, Kim and I were watching the Colors and Sound DVD, which gives a really nice sort of behind the scenes look as opposed to all of the the live show DVDs. This one really sort of documents on the road interviews, not just with the band, but like the bus driver and the sound man and all the behind the scenes people, and it really does seem like a family when you guys are on the road. So I can imagine that gig's not going to come up too quick, but he is working for free. So, well, William, have heart.
That's right. Forward your application to usebin.com. We'll send it off. We'll send it off to Marillion.com, and we'll make a match.
It's true though. When you're locked up on a bus with guys, I mean, the band and the crew tend to travel together in one bus, so you're thrown together 24 hours of the day. It's important that everyone gets on.
That's true. I also just wanted to talk about the convention for a moment, because we alluded to this earlier, but not just Britney Spears, but in the past you've also pulled out many covers. There was one night when you did all covers, and very famously you on Friday nights always do an old album in its entirety and mix up the set list with A to Z themes or chronological themes. Who sort of comes up with these ideas in the band, and is there ever any dissent in the ranks about, no, I don't want to do that, or how does that play out behind the scenes?
Behind the scenes, the band aren't that great, really, at making decisions.
All right, now we're getting to the meat and potatoes of it all.
Someone will say, I want to do that track, and someone else will say, I hate that track. So it's the usual stuff. It's like a marriage.
Right.
Oh, what I meant by that.
Just kidding.
But yeah, we just sort of all get together in a room and have a bit of a brainstorming session. I'm not sure who came up with the whole concept of this convention, the Dutch convention that we just did.
Mark.
Was it Mark, the A to Z?
Mark.
That was Mark, yeah. Mark does come up with a lot of good ideas, actually.
Mine was Sunday.
Yours was a Sunday.
Oh, okay. So there's a lot of people involved in coming up with the ideas. I remember when we were watching the in Holland, when we were watching the A to Z night, everybody in the vicinity of me, we were all having this discussion as the evening progressed. What are they going to get? When are they going to do when they get to the end of the alphabet? And of course, that's when you pulled out the Zeppelin mashup with Separated Out, which was great. That was good fun.
Oh, that was really good fun to play. Actually, it was really good. I mean, it's such a great riff.
Cashmere, into Separated Out was good fun, and so was the XTC idea for X. That was a good move.
Dave Gregory got up and played with us on that track. Yeah, he's a really, really nice guy, great guitarist. So that was good. But I mean, the night we did the cover versions at that convention, I think the band said, everyone go away, come back with a couple of tracks that you really want to play, and we'll give it a go. So that everyone, threw a mix into the hat, really, of what they fancied.
And Britney Spears was your idea.
I can't remember.
Oh, don't say it.
But which one was mine? No, that wasn't mine.
Yeah, it was.
No, I had another one. Bed knobs and thingies.
This is great.
Yeah.
Bed knobs and thingies.
Yeah.
Excuse us.
No, keep going. This is entertaining for us.
Bed knobs and thingies. Oh, is it Bed Shape, the King song? Oh, okay.
What a great
Bed knobs and thingies is the subtitle.
All right, let me back up for a second on the conventions, because not everybody, most people know what we're talking about, but let's start at the beginning for a minute. When did you guys decide that it's a very industrious thing to do these conventions, and you've been doing them for a while now. So, who was it that said, when do we give this a shot? And you had to have been nervous going into that, yeah?
Yeah, it was. Especially, I think the initial idea, actually was Lucy's. Yeah, she's got a hand up.
This is good stuff here. Yeah. This is great.
And it was a little bit disturbing because it was, you probably don't know this, but a British holiday camp, the first convention we did was in a place called Pontins. And British holiday camp in the winter is very, very bleak.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
Cold, yeah?
Yeah. So we were a bit worried about doing it. A band called the Stranglers actually did a convention at the same place, and it was their manager that we sort of made contact with, and it wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And but as it happened, it all went really well, and then from Pontins we went more up market to another place called Butlins.
Mm-hmm.
Still had plastic sheets on the bed, but it was a little bit more up market.
How many people did you get at your at the first convention?
Oh, 1,200?
1,600.
1,600.
Okay, so 1,600. Was that capacity for you, or was that? Oh, good.
It was there.
So you sold out the first convention.
Yeah.
And sort of the whole thing was set in motion about how this thing could work and that it would be successful.
Mm. And and they are incredibly, they're unique, to have Marillion fans all under one roof from all around the world. It's an amazing feeling. But yeah, so the Butlins one got a bit bigger, and then someone mentioned Centre Parks in Holland, which was much more upmarket.
Mm-hmm.
But Lucy and Steve Hogarth went over there to check it all out and came back really positive about it, and we built our own venue on site there, which meant we could put in a better production, and it was really, really successful, and it's kind of grown from there.
Right. Have you changed the formats at all?
Not really.
Through the years?
Not really. We seem to we tend to do an album on the Friday night,
right,
and then we decide what we're going to do for the Saturday and the Sunday night.
It's great.
So everyone's been different so far.
Right. It's great. I wish more bands would be more accessible like that, because I know even when Joe comes back from the conventions and he talks about, the sets are great and the music's great and all of that's great, but it's the accessibility with the band and with other Marillion fans, and it feels very much like a family, very community-like.
It really is, yeah. It's as I said, as Joe knows, it's unique. It really is unique, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great vibe.
Yeah. All right, I think we got another call for you. Ready? Deep breath. Who's on the phone? Who's in the used bin?
It's Kyle.
Hey, Kyle. How are you?
Hey, how you guys doing? Hello, Ian. Hello, Lucy.
Hi, Kyle.
I don't know. Lucy, probably you guys don't remember. Lucy doesn't remember me, but I did talk to her briefly in 2005 at Los Marillion Trios, I remember. And we were talking about the U.S. tour and how, trying to break even was really hard to do. But I really appreciate your efforts anyways.
She doesn't have headphones on, Kyle, so we'll pass on the message afterwards. Sorry about that.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
I was trying to come up with like a brilliant Marillion, fan question, being that I love the band to death at times. The one I always keep on, I've never really seen answered. That's not really that significant, and it actually might be a question more for Steve Hogarth. But why was Paper Lies not included in the Brave film? If you might know.
That's a pretty specific question.
Yeah.
I think
he's looking for answers.
Stumped him.
You have stumped me. I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that we ran out of money to film it, because it was a massive project, quite an adventurous project, really. Considering, I think it was meant to be our cheapest album, and it ended up probably being the most expensive, especially after making a film with Richard Stanley.
You can talk on mic. No?
Really? Yeah. Oh, well, I've just been told by our team of experts that Richard Stanley, the director of the film, didn't like the song.
Oh, that wasn't very nice of him.
Well,
so just cut it.
What can you do? I've never spoken to him since.
Kyle, can you hunt this guy down and let's get this thing handled?
That's right.
We need the complete Brave video.
We need a reissue with the extra bonus track of Paper Lies, right?
That's right.
I mean, this was probably coincidence, but of course, Pink Floyd's movie The Wall didn't have "Hey You," and I was thinking, was that some sort of homage to Floyd, or just complete,
That was absolutely right.
Kyle, you answered your own question, pal. Good job.
I didn't know that either. That's brilliant.
And when Roger Waters performs The Wall live, I think he's including Paper Lies now in his set list. So there's circularity here. It's all working. It's all coming together.
Really needs to cover "Hey You" pretty often.
But Rothery's only doing one show with Roger.
Yeah.
So that's how that's going to work.
Very nice.
Sometimes really the band are the last people you want to ask any questions about Marillion, because we know nothing.
Were you aware of obviously you were aware that wasn't included, but obviously wasn't too much of an issue.
No, I don't remember it even being talked about, to be honest.
Huh. Well, there you go. There you go.
I mean, it's a controversial topic because some people love it, some people hate the movie. Or they don't hate it, but they don't think it was that well done. But I personally love it, but I have to be biased because it's my favorite record of all time. But I would love to see that movie, screened at film festivals or just issued in, make it available in libraries or something. Right. I don't know.
Well, I think it's a great album, but I tend to agree, I think, with some people out there that I think what I said, it was a very adventurous task to take on, and I think we probably needed to spend a few more £100,000 to pull it off.
Right.
That's my personal feeling.
Kyle, you got one more question for Ian? Or are you stumped?
What was it like playing with Steve Hackett, I guess? That would be something to come up with.
With Steve Hackett?
I know you played with Steve Hackett at times.
It was a fantastic time for me. I mean, for a drummer to play with Steve, he's not only a fantastic guitarist, but he's a really nice guy. And all the drum parts, the Steve Hackett material, just all really good fun to play for a drummer. And I hope I work with him again in the future.
Maybe you guys could go on tour with them, or with him rather.
Well, funny enough, we had I went for dinner with Steve Hackett a few weeks ago, and we kind of talked about maybe trying to do something in the future, but we're not sure yet. But at some point, if possible, I think it'd be a really good thing.
That would bring in a lot of people. A lot of people that live, the Genesis fans, the Hackett fans, and the Marillion fans that love Genesis and Hackett. You know.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like anyone in this studio.
No. I don't even know what that looks like.
Yeah. You're talking Greek to us. Unless you're talking about Britney Spears, Ian's not even listening, so I just want you to know that. Just so you know. All right,
Playing
Kyle.
U.S. tour would be wonderful. I mean, I saw you guys the 2 times, and I've never been to the convention, but I'm out here in Minnesota, where I go to Chicago to see you guys. If you guys can hit Chicago at least,
Right.
But I know it's not easy to make the finances work perfectly because of how much money you give back to the government. But if you guys could find a way to come back over here next year, I would be one fan who would be largely happy.
Well, that's Chicago. What, Park West? Is that the gig you came to?
Yeah, you guys played there, I think in 2004.
Yeah.
Do you remember that show?
Oh, great gigs, yeah.
You guys did 3 encores.
Yeah, I mean, if we're working on it, that's all I can say. We're working on it, and we seriously want to come back. So we're trying our best for 2012.
We appreciate it as fans. I appreciate it as a fan.
No,
that's all I
thank
can
you.
ask. So, and looking forward to the next LP. I don't know if that's later this year or next year sometime or when that is exactly.
Well, as soon as I'm over with the holiday, we're all back in the studio, and we're going to start working on it. In fact, the guys should be working on it now without me.
And if they're not, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Good night. Thanks for having him on. Good night.
You got it.
Cheers.
Kyle's a big Marillion fan. Kyle calls a lot to talk about Marillion.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good guy.
Kyle and Joe have some very fun conversations about you guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
All behind your back.
Yeah. Now, since we were talking about some of the unusual songs that you do at the conventions and things that you normally wouldn't do on a regular tour, the Fish era contingent of our listeners would think I was remiss if I didn't ask this question, so I got to throw this at you. You, on many occasions, have done lots of stuff from Script for a Jester's Tear, things from Misplaced Childhood, things from Clutching at Straws, but it is extremely rare that we ever hear a note from Fugazi anymore. Even when you played Jigsaw at the convention, H decided not to join you guys for the vocals on that. And the one year when you actually did the track Fugazi, of course Martin from Marillion Tribute Band did the vocals. So what is the problem? What is the problem with pulling out anything off that specific album? Is there an H issue with the lyrical content?
Not really. I mean, when Steve first joined the band, he said, "What do you expect of me? What do you want me to do?" And we just said, "Steve, you do exactly what you want to do, whatever you feel completely comfortable with." And that kind of still goes today. So I think he's always had a problem with the song Fugazi. He just doesn't think he can deliver it. Yeah,
that's reasonable.
Yeah, and same with I think at the last convention I was really up for doing White Russians, that song, because I think Steve does a brilliant job of it, but he felt kind of a bit uncomfortable about doing it. So we said, all right, no, it's not a problem. So really that's it. It's whether he feels comfortable, and that might change from year to year.
And that sits well with you guys.
Oh, it does really, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we don't want to keep... I mean, conventions are a different thing, really, because we're playing in front of a very forgiving audience.
Right, for sure, yeah.
Which is just as well, because as you say, we're playing 6 or 7 hours worth of music.
Yeah, they're your people.
We're not all going to get the notes in the right order, really, for all of those tracks, more often than not. So that's the time to go back and let them hear what they want to hear, really. So,
do you get a lot of that from your? I don't want to say your diehard Marillion fans, because that's a different breed, like you said. But from your average Marillion fans, do you find that a lot of people are begging for more of the Fish era, or they just want to hear the new stuff and they're comfortable with hearing all of that?
They seem comfortable with what we give them.
Right. It's good.
Yeah, they do. We never feel like we're under any kind of pressure to play any of the older stuff. I think a few years back, maybe it was a little different, but no, everyone seems comfortable. I mean, we enjoy playing. We could have thrown in a garden party or something the other day,
right,
at the conventions, but we didn't need to.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's good. I know a lot of bands that go through that big change. There seems to be a lot of people in the old singer camp, and then there's the new singer camp, and the sort of that that gray area, sort of happy with whatever. But it sounds like everybody's sort of reconciled that Marillion's going to play what Marillion's going to play, old, new, or whatever.
Yeah.
And when in the llast couple of years, when you've gone on these sort of co-headlining European tours, I know you did one with Deep Purple, and you have one coming up later this year with some dates in Germany, I believe, and maybe in Holland with Saga.
Yeah.
It seems like you sort of cater the set list there to more the newcomer to the crowd. I see that some older material gets thrown in, and a lot of the heavyweight, more iconic Marillion essentials, if you will. The Easters, the Great Escapes, Afraid of Sunlight kind of thing. Do you find, and is anybody tabulating the numbers after the fact? Do you see a lot of hits from these regions on the Marillion website after you hit these territories on these kind of double bill tours with new people coming into the fold?
I don't know whether with the Purple tour, which I must say was just a brilliant thing to do. One, because the Purple guys were really nice to us, but we played for an hour. So in an hour, you've got to really seriously look at the set list and go, what can we play in an hour that's going to... We thought we were going to be playing to... We thought a lot of the audience would probably still be in the bar because they come to see Deep Purple, but actually from the first night, the place was full. People were there to see us as well. So it was important to actually, in an hour, give them something that was impressive. And as a broad spectrum of stuff, samples from across the years. So we just did what we thought was for the best, and that kind of applies when we do this Saga tour. Still, we're probably only going to be on for an hour and a half.
Right.
So it's the same thing. As far as do we sell more product from the tours, I'm not sure. I think things pick up.
Lucy says yes.
Yeah. I mean,
did you get the green card?
Either that, or she was answering the question of who recorded Close to the Edge, but I'm not sure.
I think, with the Purple tour, we felt every gig went down a storm, and the audience were just great. So afterwards, I'm sure sales picked up a bit. There was more interest in Germany, so that's great.
Gotcha. So within the band, when you do those kind of tours, obviously there is some sense of what the powerhouse songs are to play in a shortened set. And so I got to ask, and I know it's a tough question for any musician, but is there a definitive Marillion record for you?
Record or track?
Either. Either.
I think tracks like we always seem to think at the moment Neverland is a killer track. It's a track that everybody seems to love, and there's a certain power to it as well that you can't argue with. Other songs, the last convention we did, we played a song called Estonia,
right,
and that's actually become one of my real favourite tracks now. Easter was one of my favourites, it still is, as I said, because it's a great arrangement, and great arrangements tend to play themselves. And Estonia for me is another one where the music and the lyrics, they just work with each other perfectly for me.
And that falls into that category of Marillion songs about death and water.
It does.
Which has been a long-running joke.
Yeah, doom and gloom.
Is that why does that keep popping up? Is there any logic to that?
There isn't really. I think Estonia came about because Steve Hogarth met the only British survivor from that ferry disaster from the Estonia. That's how that came about. What else we got? The Donald Campbell.
Right, out of this world.
Out of this world, yeah. More water and death. I don't know. Finding Nemo. What's
How did we get Finding Nemo?
They're going to cover Yellow Submarine on the next tour.
Outstanding.
Yeah, there must be some music some film music we can do somewhere for
Absolutely,
someone.
Absolutely. We got another call?
We do. Who's in the used bin?
Hi, guys. Good evening, Ian and Lucy. This is Stephen here. How are you guys doing?
Hello, Stephen. Welcome to the show, pal.
Hi. It's good. Always good to chat with you guys. And got questions for Ian, of course, as well.
Fire away.
So, Ian, I'd love to hear a little bit about the upcoming album. And I know I think you guys are very, very early into the process of laying down some ideas and kicking some things about. But do you have any sort of broad conceptual ideas as to what the album might be? I know that in the past, Marillion has often sort of reacted to the previous album they've done and wanted to do something very different from what you've done before. And of course, the last album you guys did was Less Is More, which was sort of an interesting acoustic reworking of some of your older material, but with instruments like glockenspiels and harpsichord and some very unusual instrumentation. That was a very mellow record. So does that mean that the next record is going to be a balls-out rock record?
It seems like you've already answered the question.
He's got a point, though. They say that the next album's always a reaction to the last one, but I think that a few of us felt after the Less Is More tour that we really wanted to make a lot more noise. But saying that, I'm not sure yet. I mean, it's very early days. We've been in the studio over the last year jamming a lot, and we've got hours and hours of pieces of music. We've still got to compile them. It's kind of we're distilling everything. It's
right.
a slow process. But we'll get back in the studio and sift through all those hours of music and find out the bits we like, and then maybe start to arrange them. But as far as actually having a concept, there really isn't one at the moment, and that's going to be a long time before we get down that path.
I'm going to go out on a limb and make a Usebin exclusive announcement here, and that is that the next Marillion album will not be called Grendel 2.
Ian, what's your
don't know Grendel 1, sorry.
There you go. What's your normal process between records? Do you guys have a time frame that you go, you tour, you break, you write, you make a record, you put it out, you break, you tour? Is it pretty regimented like that, or do you guys just go with what's going on?
Well, we're kind of we're very lucky and very fortunate that we've got our own studio, and also we don't really have to answer to any major record companies, or we're very self-sufficient. So it's a kind of double-edged sword, because it means that there's no one there are a few people saying, when is the next album coming out? We've got to plan a tour, we've got to plan this, but someone's sitting behind me. We're not spending £1,000 a day in a studio wasting time, so we just tend to go into the studio when we feel like it, which can be not that constructive, but on the other hand, it's best to be in a studio when you're feeling inspired, and we can spend weeks in a studio and not come up with anything,
right?
And then we can go in, because everyone's in a different frame of mind, play for 10 minutes and come up with 10 minutes of magic. So it's very difficult. So that's the point we're at the moment. We've got to go in and start arranging some of the jams that we've got, because everything is quite organic,
right?
Everything is done through jams, really. And then at the same time, Steve will be trying to marry up some lyrics with some of the pieces of music that we have.
Right.
I've got another question, if I may.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the band has ever considered doing a full-on duet with a female vocalist. And in the past, you've had female vocalists doing more kind of backing vocal type things, like on Angelina, for example. But ever thought about that? And if so, which female singers would you think would be a great fit for singing opposite Steve Hogarth?
Steve has never actually shown any interest, I don't think, in any other singing with anybody else.
The name Britney Spears springs to mind.
Fish used to bang on about doing duets with Kate Bush all the time, but that never materialised. So, but no, it's never come up really. I don't know if it ever will. If Steve said, I really fancy doing a duet with so-and-so or whoever, and we thought it was right, then we'd go for it. I mean, that's what is great about being in Marillion, is that there aren't really any boundaries. We'd have a go at anything.
Right. Does that work for you, Stephen?
Sounds great. And very excited to hear that you guys are planning to come back through the States next year. And I'm very much looking forward to that. So thank you, Lucy, for working behind the scenes on that. And thanks, Ian. Looking forward to seeing you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Stephen.
All right. See you guys later. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
And as far as the no boundaries thing, although there has been some female backing vocals on some of the tracks, you've even had like saxophone on Deserve, and you've had some different people playing with the band over the years. What was it? Stephanie playing cello at some of the gigs, and so you've had quite a bit of that. I'm just drawing a blank here. Maybe you remember this, but who was the female vocalist that you had back on the Clutching at Straws tour? I think that was the only time you had one actually on tour with you. Who was that, and has she done anything since?
Her name was Corrie, and I'm not quite sure what she's...
That was a while ago.
Yeah, it was quite a while back. I think before us she'd done some work with Rick Wakeman's band touring, but I think mainly she was a session singer. But I've kind of lost contact with her
since 85 or whatever that was, 88, whatever that was.
88 it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, speaking of female vocalists, since it came up, I wanted to ask you about one of your pre-Marillion gigs, and I know that you did a short period of time with the band Renaissance. What was that like, and how? What was Annie like? Was she a nut job?
She was. Actually, what happened? I mean, I was doing studio work mainly. You know, I was a freelance session musician, and I'd do studio work, do albums for people, and then maybe do a tour of the album that I recorded. And really, the Renaissance thing, I was just called in to play on a few tracks on one of their albums, and it was all very enjoyable. And yeah, I did meet Annie and briefly, and she seemed very, very nice. So I can't comment on whether she's a nut job, really. You need to be on the road with someone to
figure that part out.
To figure it out, yeah.
Right.
I did an album and a tour with a girl called Sally Oldfield, which was Mike Oldfield's sister.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And she was interesting.
Okay. So you were on the road with a nut job?
I didn't say that.
That's okay, I will. I'm happy to say it.
She was interesting, and I had to do certain fills in different colours.
In different colours?
Yeah, she'd say, in that fill there, could you change the colour of that? That's a little bit too green.
Oh, I love that.
Blue,
how do you interpret what's too green?
Well, you just go with the flow, really.
Mm-hmm. I see.
If you think if that's too green, then
I'll make it a little red.
Yeah.
You shout out to the lighting guy, and you say,
"Yeah,
what is that like, Joe? I wish you could speak in a little red, if you don't mind.
I'll give that a try.
I appreciate that.
But
thank you."
Saying that, she was very talented. I mean, it was her first tour that she'd ever done, and she walked on stage as if she really walked on stage as if she'd owned it, and she'd been doing it for years, which that was impressive. Yeah.
What are some of your favorite non-Marillion gigs that you've done?
That I've done?
Yeah.
What, you mean me personally playing?
Yeah.
The Steve Hackett tours were one, a massive stepping stone for my career, really. But just the total pleasure, because Steve was such a nice guy, and it was an honour to be working with him. Other highlight gigs, I suppose. We were talking about it last night to someone. I did a charity gig at the Albert Hall for Grand Prix Formula One racing drivers.
Right.
And there were lots of special guests, and there was Nick Mason and some guys from a band called Spandau Ballet.
Sure.
Eddie Jordan, who's a Formula One racing, he plays drums. He was on another drum kit.
Oh, okay.
But it was just a really good gig. There was Steve Rothery played guitar, Pete was on bass, and it was a kind of an all-star band. That was a great moment, a good good fun gig.
What did that set look like?
We played Baby Drive My Car, Beatles.
Okay, that's appropriate.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
And some Sammy Hagar songs. I Can't Drive 55.
Right.
Yeah. No, it was
and the whole Cars catalog. Which
really
is
good
weird.
gig. Marillion, of course. The gigs we did. I mean, the first gigs I ever did with Marillion were highlights as well. I just knew that there was something very special about the band. And, and I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to be in this band. And luckily they asked me to join. So
you thought you might stay?
Yeah, yeah. I said if I can have a pay rise, I might stay.
That's probably a good call right there. All right, let's go to one more phone call. Who do we have in the used bin?
Hey, am I allowed to call in again?
Is this Darren?
What if we said no, Darren? Would you hang up?
No, or should I send my email question to Ian instead?
No, say hello to Ian and ask your question, Darren.
Okay, hello, Ian.
Hi, Darren. How are you?
Good. I discovered Marillion through Joe.
Glad to help. Glad to help.
Okay, Ian. I have to ask you, what was it like to tour with Rush?
Whoa. That was
Darren's a big Rush fanatic.
Yeah, that was the Power Windows tour. It was a really good experience. I mean, we only played. I think we played for 45 minutes. We played Misplaced Childhood album in its entirety. So 45 minutes wasn't long. We were off stage by about 8 o'clock at night.
Right. That's an early night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was all the gigs were big gigs. They were really good fun to do. We had a great time. All the guys in Rush were very, very nice to us. They were nice guys. I remember one really nice night they took us out. They hired a bowling alley. So we had a night out with them bowling, and that was good fun. But they're really good guys and very professional.
Yeah.
And it was fun sharing a stage with them. In fact, they asked us if we had to go back to Europe halfway through their American tour to do some gigs that we were sort of committed to. They asked us if we'd carry on with their tour and play down the south, and we just couldn't do it. I really wish we could have done that.
Yeah. Did you ever have any like drummer to drummer bonding moments with Neil? Because he's known for being so personable like that.
I mean, we didn't. We just bumped into each other, occasionally.
Sounds about right.
I saw him getting off his bike because he used to ride to gigs, and he was obviously fanatical about being fit.
Could you imagine doing that? Could you imagine riding your bike or your motorcycle from gig to gig?
Maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Not these days. No.
The thought of that to me is so mind-boggling. You ride your bike or your motorcycle, whatever it is, from gig to gig, and then you get to the gig and you play a 3-hour show. You sleep for a few hours, eat, hop back on that bike, ride 1,000 miles or something like that. That's nuts to me.
Well, if you're in your 20s, it's brilliant. I mean, you can stay up party all night and do a drum solo and do the next one.
It's also got to be different. The difference between Neil riding his bike from gig to gig in California, New Mexico, and Nevada in the summer, or Ian doing the Christmas tour.
Right.
Germany in November.
That's a whole different deal. Look, Neil, what are they? Rush is there now. I think Rush is over in Europe now. I think he's riding his bike. He's riding the motorcycle across Europe now.
There you go.
He's nuts like that.
Good band though. I mean, and that tour was really good fun.
Yeah, Darren, you got another question for Ian?
Well, a couple more quick ones. Ian?
Yeah?
Have you seen the Rush documentary Beyond the Lighted Stage, and what do you think?
I haven't seen it, I'm afraid. Is it good?
Well, it's good. Apparently, Neil still hasn't seen it yet. According to interviews, because of what happened to his wife and daughter in the 90s, so he's still resistant again. So.
Yeah, well, that's just tragic. What happened to him?
All right, Darren, we got to cut you loose, pal. But thank you for calling tonight, man. Thank you for calling twice. We got a double dose of Darren this evening, which is always a good thing. So we appreciate it. Darren's a big Rush fan, and like you said, Joe turned him on to Marillion I don't know, I would say maybe almost a year or so ago, but he went on Amazon or whatever, and he started buying the records, and he's been pretty diehard ever since.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Darren.
Well, I'm doing my part. I guide everyone to Marillion.com and tell them they could find a better way of life at Marillion.com. And
take this huge sum of money.
Yes.
Sorry.
Can we split it?
Thank you. I'll count that out later. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, speaking of Marillion.com, I want to ask you sort of about, and we've alluded to the freedom without necessarily, record label pressures and that type of thing. But as early as, I guess, Anorachnophobia, I think we're very revolutionary with a very new kind of business model in approaching the fans in a way where we pre-purchased records, which enabled you to, before a note had even been written or recorded, to go in and do the record with the understanding that we would, get a record as promised, and with our names in the credits and the whole thing. And very different, very diametrically opposed, really, to sort of the old business model of bands spoon-feeding a little bit of the mystique from behind the curtain to the masses, where you're really working in concert, essentially, with your fan base to make this all happen. When did that become a part of the Marillion business plan, and how does it feel now to be without the label pressure?
Well, it came about, I suppose we were off EMI Records, and we'd been going through the kind of indie years, and I think everyone felt kind of pretty frustrated and quite uncomfortable being with the indie labels. They weren't spending any money on marketing. I think it's been said that if someone wants a Marillion album, they'll find it.
Right.
They'll find it under a rock. They don't have to. So the indies kind of knew that they didn't have to spend a load of money on campaigns and marketing, and that's kind of what got us thinking about it all. And it was Mark that came up with the idea again. So we kind of put an email out to all the fans saying, what do you think? Would you contemplate purchasing an album before we'd written a note? I mean, very, very trusting.
Yeah, that's a gutsy move, because what if they said no?
Well, then we would have been completely scuppered.
Right.
But the reaction was so positive. So we took their money and we all bought Ferraris and
off you went. And recorded Britney Spears covers.
Yeah. No, it was a massive relief when it happened, really, and it worked. But as I said, incredibly trusting, because and in a way we felt really very responsible that we must put out a good album, and they give them their money's worth, really, pay them back, and I think we did.
Yeah.
And over the years,
I concur.
Oh, thank you. Well, over the years, that trust has built, I think, as well, and yeah, it's worked really well.
So, just for a lot of the people that don't know as in depth as maybe Joe does about how maybe it works, this business model, the independent route that you've gone as far as owning everything, right? I mean, you're the label, right? You're the distributor. You're everything.
Yeah, well, it's kind of, I mean, really, we've got the best of all worlds. As you say, we own our own music, which is really important.
Right.
We can do what we want with it. Also, it does leave us open if we want to do a distribution deal with a major. We still have done with EMI in the past. So that's great.
Sort of on a one-off basis.
Yeah, just on one-offs. Yeah.
In fact, it's worth mentioning now that currently you're in the process of having sort of reissues and redistribution on a wider scale of some of the more recent records. I think Marbles and Somewhere Else are they currently available or soon to be available?
Yeah, we've done a deal. Well, Lucy's done a deal.
Lucy's done a deal.
Yeah, another with a company called Snapper.
Okay.
Right. And they've been putting out some stuff.
Yeah, you got the thumbs up.
Oh, good.
You're good.
Yeah.
I got your back, don't worry.
Well, they came to us highly recommended, the Snapper label, and they seem like good guys, and they've got they're in the right place with it all, I think.
Right.
So time will tell on it, but
Right.
Got the fingers crossed.
So I find it to be so fascinating, especially because you were ahead of the curve in the downfall of the major label system that seems to be going on.
Yeah, I mean the press that we got, the Marillion business model, which was it was all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
We were the first to do it. I mean, I think lots of bands are doing it as well now.
Yeah.
And, which is kind of inevitable because of the internet, but we were just the first to do it. We were getting more press from it than the music.
Right.
Really were.
Yeah.
And, but they say, any press is good press.
Sure. But there had to have been this innate fear, and I always, we talk about this sort of thing a lot. There had to have been, everybody grows up, if you're a musician or whatever, you want this big record deal, right? And you get the money, the big concerts, the stadiums, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And then you get that, and then all of a sudden you begin to wean yourself away from the big tit that's the major label, and that has to be frightening.
It's very scary. I mean, huge change. But I mean, the whole music business changed so quickly and so dramatically. But yeah, it was all very scary at the time. I mean, that's still the dream, isn't it? Sign to a major,
right?
Get massive marketing budgets, big advance,
right?
Off you go.
Yeah. I told you it gets a little warm in here, right?
I've pulled my headphones out.
Oh, I'll take that.
We're experiencing technical difficulties, but Brad's got it all under control.
Sorry about that.
Your biggest fan is in the corner right now.
Hey, whoever just called, I missed that call. Sorry about that. You can call back again. I was very busy. But yeah, it's so fascinating to me because you guys were ahead of the curve in that, and you look at some of these newer bands that come up now, and their whole that dream of the major label and all of that stuff. It's sort of dashed a little bit, isn't it? Because it just doesn't exist. Yeah,
well, I'm sure it still exists, doesn't it? For some pop acts. And
well, if you're Coldplay, it exists.
Yeah, if you're recession-proof act,
right?
But I mean, it's very difficult for young bands now, and I mean, it's always been difficult. But we say collect everybody's email addresses. Anyone that's at a gig.
Right.
My son's formed a band, and he's going through the same thing at the moment, trying to get a deal and just saying, well, do as many gigs as you can and try and build up your own fan base.
Right. That seems to make sense. All right, should we go to a call? Yeah? Who do we have in the used bin? Fergie. Hello, young man.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good. Say hello to Ian.
Hey, Ian. It's Fergie. Nice to talk to you.
Hi, Fergie. Why do I feel like you know each other already?
I think you do.
We've spent
crossed
some time
paths
together, yeah.
Oh, all right.
But we won't talk about those times on the radio.
Say no more. What a man does in the privacy of his own attic.
That's right.
That's exactly right. Well, welcome to California. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I have a question that's non-music related. It is, what do you do between albums, between tours, and all that to be away from music and get recharged?
Well, I come to Los Angeles
and bring the rain.
But that seems like a horrible idea.
No, well, what do I do? Well, to be honest, I mean, it's been full on with Marillion for, it really has been 24 hours. But I like to, in my spare time, I like to play tennis, although I haven't played for a month or two, well, a couple of months, because we've just been working solidly. But I really enjoy playing tennis a lot.
Okay,
that's
good.
Something I like cars as well.
And you follow the Premiership too, right?
A little bit. I wouldn't say I'm not really a football fanatic, but I do like to see a good game of soccer, as you say.
Well, he calls it soccer. I still call it football.
I feel much better now. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I like to see, I like to see a good game, but I haven't got a particular team that I follow really.
Right. He's Marillion 24/7, Fergie, which is exactly what you really wanted to hear, isn't it? That was the real answer.
That is exactly what I wanted to hear.
Well,
yeah,
it is really.
Well, my follow-up question is this then. So, once you've played your tennis and driven your Ferrari around the English countryside.
I wish, yeah.
From all the pre-sale funds. So when you get back in the studio, do you feel compelled to try to come up with anything new as a drummer? And I guess more specifically, what I'm asking is there any chance that we're going to hear the drum machine from Lady Nina ever again?
Well, I'm always up for experimenting, and I'll try anything. But what's good is when we've had a bit of a break, it's always really good fun getting back into the studio and playing. It probably applies to anything. If you have a bit of a break from it, sometimes you come back to it and you feel fresh again, and that's what I'm hoping. The band, the times we've been back in the studio over the last few months, it's been fun. It's been really good fun. So I hope we get some inspiration from it. And as far as the Lady Nina drum machine, I don't think that'll ever appear again. I mean, it only appeared, to be honest, because everyone was very drunk. And we were in Berlin. I mean, and we'd had about 30 tequilas. So that's how that actually came about.
I'm happy to buy it on eBay, buy it back on eBay for you if you'd like.
Right. Was there ever a time, Ian, where you guys, I mean, I'm sure there was, or had to have been in this long career that you guys have had, but where you were burned out to the point where it was, look, I'm not quite sure what direction we're going, and I'm not quite sure what direction I'm going.
Well, I can't...
What's that? I think we heard every day.
Every day.
Wow, I don't even know where to go with that.
I think it's going to happen, isn't it? Over
sure.
How long have we been together? I've been in the band
400 years.
Yeah, really, it's bound to happen. Well, for me, I think the only time I was having a little bit of trouble was for me was the tour I didn't particularly enjoy was the Holidays in Eden tour. I don't know why. I just wasn't enjoying it, and that's the only time. After that tour, everything else I've really enjoyed. So, which isn't bad going.
No, that's pretty good odds right there.
Yeah.
Was it the record, or just the tour, or was it where you guys were at, or was it just where you were in your life? Maybe.
I think it was. It was probably the way that album was put together. I mean, I think it's a really good album. And there's some great tracks on it, but the way it was put together, a lot of it was from the drum point of view. A lot of it was programmed. We sampled my drum kit and I played an electronic drum kit.
Right.
So I'd kind of finished album tracks, and at the end of it I thought, I don't feel like I've played.
So unfulfilled.
Yeah, and then we came to do the tour, and I just really wasn't 100% happy, and I couldn't pinpoint why really, but yet, we play songs like The Party now, and one of my favourite tracks to play live.
Right.
And This Town and 100 Nights, I love playing it all. It's probably more fun live, actually, than the recording.
Is it fair to say that during that period of time, you probably experienced more label pressure than ever to sort of deliver singles?
There certainly was, and I remember there was a lot of pressure because we were, it was the first time Steve Hogarth we'd done an album with Steve, and it was all very fresh and there was high energy, and we suddenly were in the studio with a blank canvas saying, right, we've got to write another album. And it was really the first time we'd actually had to work together as a band.
Right.
And it was a new band, really.
You're learning all over again.
Yeah. So I think everyone was feeling the strain a bit, and then the record company were really putting us under pressure. You've got to have you need a single, and of course it's kiss of death for Marillion if we try and actually write a single. It just doesn't work. We can't do that. We just do what we do.
Right.
So and then we had a little sort of producer problem. Chris Kimsey was going to be producing the album, who'd done Misplaced, and he suddenly got an offer with the Rolling Stones, so he said, "I'm sorry, boys, but I've got to go," so it was fair enough. And then we got Chris Neal in, so who's a great guy and a great producer as well. I think the main thing was that we had a producer whose name was Chris. So,
right.
Anyway, it was a learning curve for everybody, I think, and that's what earlier someone mentioned, that the next album is a reaction to the last one. Well, the next album from Holidays was Brave.
Right.
So, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, you had mentioned how around that period of time when you were doing Holidays in Eden, that it was truly a blank canvas, because Season's End, obviously, a lot of at least the music, not the lyrics, but a lot of that music had been worked out even as early as the later part of the Fish era.
Yeah, it had.
So going into the next Marillion record, 2011, 2012, are there any bits floating around? I know that around Somewhere Else and Happiness is the Road, there were still some titles that looked familiar to the Marillion diehards, because we had heard them mentioned as early as Marbles or earlier. Things like Circular Ride or Real Tears for Sale seemed like they had been sitting around for a little while.
Yeah.
Are there anything still floating around to work on, or are you really blank slate right now?
We've still got some stuff which we've got to listen to, from over the years. There's lots of bits and pieces that we could easily revisit, but it's kind of nice at the moment.
So this could be Grendel 2 then. maybe not that old pieces.
Grendel 53.
Joe's pushing for that Grendel, boy. He's pushing.
I've never played it. I've never even listened to it properly.
It predates Ian even. That's how old that piece is.
It does.
You've never listened to it?
No, not really. Is
there a reason?
No, I've just never been asked to. I listened to a little bit. When I first joined the band, when I was first asked to, they gave me a load of stuff to listen to, and that was one of them. And I listened to it and I thought, that sounds a bit like Genesis. And which was fine, because it was a young band.
Sure.
And every young band gets influenced by whoever's around at the time, and then they grow and find their own identity. So, and hopefully that's what Marillion did.
Right, sure.
So, but no, I'd listened to snippets of Marillion material, and but no, I've never played it ever.
Huh.
So,
would you?
For a bit of fun, yeah.
Lucy's shaking her head.
No. Don't put that in his head, Joe. I'm working for you. What are you doing? You're undoing everything I just did. I worked so hard to put that together, and you just ruined it. So you would play it?
Well, there must be a place somewhere where you need gnomes dancing around Stonehenge.
All right, then. Oh, dude, I tried. What do you want from me? All right, let's go to one more phone call with Ian. Who do we have in the used bin?
Hey, what's up? This is Lewis from New York.
Hi, Lewis. How are you? Say hello to Ian.
What's up, Ian?
Hi, Lewis. I'm good. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
I had a very deep question about Britney Spears.
That's the first time deep in Britney Spears has ever been mentioned on this show.
I'm sure those two words have been used together plenty.
Yeah, but not on this show.
Nicely done. Nicely done, pal.
You're out of my league.
But a couple weeks ago, you guys had the bassist Anthony from Jolly on.
Right, yeah, sure. Yeah.
And he happened to mention that he was listening to Britney Spears, and one of you guys expressed some disdain for that.
That would be
and
me.
Now we've got Ian in here, and he confesses that he too is listening to Britney Spears.
Yeah, I'm very uncomfortable, if you want to know the truth. I'm sweating more than normal because of all of that. I have a deep disdain for that. You are correct, sir. Thank you for bringing that back up.
Thanks for bringing everyone down.
See, but that's why I'm calling. I'm interested in that because, I'm into the rock and the prog and all that great stuff. And recently, I got turned on to this Kesha album, and it's probably even more looked down upon than Britney Spears. It's bottom of the barrel pop track.
You're speaking Joe's language right now.
But you like this?
But I'm just wondering if you guys. you see have an appreciation for this modern pop? Do you see the art in it, or do you just think it's absolute shit?
Great question. Good question.
The music's either good or bad for me, really. So if it's a good pop record, it's a good pop record. And I hate to say it, but I quite like some of Britney Spears' pop records.
Yeah.
Let me help tell you where I think this is going a little bit. Was the conversation we had my argument against Britney Spears was that I was angry that she doesn't write much and she can't sing, she doesn't sing live, and she doesn't seem to do much except put her name on the record. And so it bothers me that the fact that this Britney Spears is all over the place when she doesn't do anything. So,
but do you think it's kind of like not liking Arnold because he didn't really kill an alien, or he's not really half cyborg? Don't you think it's kind of like that?
No, because when I'm watching a movie, I don't go in there. I don't feel like I'm getting faked out.
We're getting all kinds of great pop culture references here.
Yeah, no, I don't feel like I'm getting duped by that because I go into that movie knowing what I'm getting. When I buy a record, if I'm listening to a Marillion record, if I'm listening to a Rush record, or if I'm listening to anybody, a Jolly record, I'm expecting to hear those guys play their instruments, and I want to hear the singer sing his songs. Good, bad, or indifferent. I'm happy to make that judgment afterwards, but at least I know the guys are playing. With Britney Spears, I feel completely duped. I feel like I walked into the movie and they sold me a bag of wrong goods.
That's fair.
So now if you go into the movie expecting that, it's not going to be necessarily performed perfectly live, but it's a production, a studio production, then given that pretense, could you appreciate it? Because you're saying that it's not going to be performed live. So I'm just wondering, if you have that in mind and you're not duped, then could you like it?
Probably, but when it comes to music, I'm so interested in the talent that goes behind the playing. I'm more interested in hearing the guitar player play. Good, bad, or indifferent, I want to hear him play the notes that he wrote, and I want to hear the drummer play the stuff that he wrote and the singer sing those songs. And like I said, good, bad, or indifferent is another story, but I'm interested in hearing people play what they write. It's the integrity, but for me, it's about integrity.
That was Brad, and this is Joe, and I just want to add my 2 cents, and that's if I ever go to a pop show and I feel duped because the artist hasn't performed, my immediate gut reaction is the next morning to go directly to Marillion.com and buy a T-shirt, and then I feel much, much better. Much, much better. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Well, I'm glad Ian likes Britney Spears. That makes me happy.
Look, I'm getting a bit swayed now because I've never seen her play live. So maybe I should go to a live concert and then see how I feel after that.
I'm sure it will suck, and she'll be it's going to completely destroy your perfect conception of Britney.
It's going to mess my head up completely.
Well, I'm sure the production will be great, but it's going to the circus is a lot of fun too. It's not I mean, to me, there's not much difference. But all right, Lewis, thank you so much, man.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, good night.
Oh, wait, can I just add one thing?
Sure.
I'm actually the drummer for Jolly. That's what I'm calling.
Oh, well, there you go. Good job. Well,
and how are you guys doing? You coming to the West Coast anytime soon?
Yeah, hopefully. Who the hell knows?
Well,
as Ian's saying, it's tough out there.
Yeah. Well, next time you're in West Coast, you drop us a line. We'll bring you here into our hot, sweaty box of a studio, and we'll ask you a bunch of Britney Spears questions.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Take care, guys.
All right, Lewis. Thanks, man. Well, there you go. Wow, who knew that Britney Spears would be the running theme this evening?
Who knew that we would have more questions about Britney than fish tonight?
Yeah.
when was the last time that happened with you, Ian?
Last week.
Ian, you've been a trooper. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight in our hot little box of a room. Before we let you go, we always have 3 rapid fire questions we ask all of our guests. So just the first thing that comes to mind, just pop out your first answer. What was the first record you ever bought?
Oh, really? It was Buddy Rich album called Big Swing Face.
Oh, nice. We haven't gotten Buddy Rich before. No, it's good.
No, yeah, but I'm really old.
Okay, fair. I can't win if I answer that question. Go ahead.
And if you weren't drumming, what else do you think you'd be doing?
Bank robber.
Bank robber. Or the President of the United States, right? How did that come about, by the way? Just curious. How did the nickname come about?
it really started. Just one guy years ago suddenly shouted out, "Ian Mosley for president," and it kind of escalated from there. And then he walked in with a T-shirt with it, and so I just kind of went with the flow, really.
Yeah, it's become sort of a widespread sort of understanding in the Marillion fan crowd. We all sort of know, oh yeah, well, Rutherford is God and Steve is and Ian is president. So
yeah, but Steve believes that.
It could be worse, Ian. He could have put something worse on that T-shirt. Ian for something else, then it wouldn't be so good.
I'm sure people have.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Go ahead, Joe.
And third and final question, but very important. If you were trapped on a desert island and you could only bring one Rush album with you, which would it be? And we ask everybody that question.
No, it'd have to be Power Windows because it just bring back the memories, really.
Yeah, we're close to that record.
Yeah. It's the only one I know.
Wow, that let the air out of the room, let me tell you. I want to, really quick, before we let you go, and I know everybody's sweating in here like crazy, and we just lost you again. Ah, there you are, you're back.
Sorry.
That's all right. Just before we let you go, I just wanted to ask you one more quick question, just about some of like modern pop music. What is some, and I'm not getting on this Britney Spears thing again, I promise. I'm just curious, some of the stuff that you really like pop-wise embrace, like the Radioheads or the Coldplays of the world. Is that stuff, like, does Radiohead interest you?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really... To be really honest, I haven't listened to a lot of Radiohead. I mean, the stuff I've heard, I've thought has been really good. You know, the OK Computers, but I haven't listened to the album from beginning to end, consistently.
Right.
Coldplay, I really like Coldplay, the stuff I've heard. You know, that first, the Parachutes album, I thought was just really good. I thought it had some really nice, good songs on it.
Yeah.
And I thought they were a good band. Keen, that band, I think.
Love them, sure.
Done some great stuff.
There's a band Joe and I played on the show before too, Star Sailor, that nobody seems to talk about out here.
Them, yeah.
Which another great English pop band that it seems you can just get no love over here, right? I think that first record came out right after the Coldplay Parachutes record, and it just stiffed over here, unfortunately.
Really?
And I think those guys are great songwriters. What's that?
Stiffed in the UK too.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's too bad because it's really good stuff. But I always wonder, like, what did you find some of the? Did you ever find some of these younger pop bands that sort of get the Marillion influence somewhere in there?
I'd like to say yes, because I'd be extremely flattered.
Right.
But I think. What I said about System of a Down, they've been around a while now, but when I see them live and when I listen to their album, they mean it, and that's what Marillion stood for when I joined the band, and now we mean what we do, and we're honest about what we do, and there's bands young bands now that give off that vibe, so
yeah,
that's good, being true to themselves, really.
I would agree. It's about integrity, right?
Yeah.
And it's also fair to say, like with Star Sailor, that there are some bands who just don't translate as well in the U.S. For example, back in the 80s, one of the first times that I saw Marillion, they played here in Los Angeles before they got to the arena levels. He played a couple of nights at the Roxy on the Misplaced Childhood tour, and then I moved to London shortly after and saw them do the exact same show at Wembley Arena, and it just blew my mind how two totally different continents could embrace a band in different ways like that. And so we're pushing for the arena level Marillion comeback in 2012.
Oh yes, please.
Ian, you look so interested in that. That seems so motivating for you right now.
Oh, I'd love to do a big tour of America, though. I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got really fond memories of the Roxy. As you say, it's a tiny place, but I've done some great gigs there.
Yeah.
And there's, the history of the place as well.
Right.
It's a bit kind of like the Marquee Club that we had in London.
Mm-hmm.
So many bands have played there. But yeah, just coming out and doing a good, worthwhile tour that people can enjoy would be great. And, the bigger the gig for us, the more successful we are, the bigger production we can put on and the better show, I think.
Yeah.
And that's... about for us.
Well, there's a lot of people certainly a lot of people that listen to this show, and even one person that hosts this show that is going nuts, is clamoring at the fact that you guys are coming back to the U.S. So at least you'll have a lot of support. Yeah. At least you have a lot of support.
We're really going to.
That's what I meant.
We're really trying our best to get back here.
Good. Well, we hope it works out.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming down. Appreciate you spending an evening of your holiday with us. It was Holiday in News Bin. Right? Holiday in News Bin.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's the B-side.
So while we're saying our thank yous and goodbyes off the air, we're going to go to a little track. And this is a little live version, which you can find on, I think this is off one of the Friday Night Live CDs that were just released at the last convention. And this is a live version of Neverland. Enjoy.
When the darkness takes me over, face down, emptier than zero, invisible, you control me. Quietly, and you stay beside me, and you whisper to me, here I am, and the loneliness fades. Some people think I'm something. Well, you gave me that I know. I always feel like nothing when I'm in the dark alone. You
Used Bin Radio. what are you listening to?
I'm listening to Queen. What are you listening to?
Hey, welcome back to Usman Radio, boys and girls. Hey, how fun was that?
That was great.
That was a good time.
Ian is a stud.
Ian is a stud, and he and Lucy were troopers to hang out in our little room.
We should be honest with everybody and tell you that this room that we're in, the studio that we're in, just gets really hot. So when there's a lot of people in here, that was all the heat references that you were probably hearing. But it is what it is.
But even though it's hot in here, I will say that it smells really good because Rachel is in the house. And
she always smells
and is
good.
ready to give us a little music news. So, in order for that to happen, I think it only appropriate.
Wait, are we doing the news?
That we go to a little bit of Rachel's theme song.
Hey, Joe, throwing us for a loop here. You got to hold on a second.
You ready? You ready? Here we go.
Extra, extra, pinball bonanza, death diamond blanket makes the big game. Saturday final, faces the champ. Extra, extra, pinball, big time mini.
Total chaos going on in here. Rachel.
Hi, guys.
How are you tonight?
I'm well. We're doing a little musical chairs again.
So when the music stops, what happens? With musical chairs.
Well, looks like
Then it lands on Rachel.
yeah. I'm the winner. Yay!
And I end up getting fucked in the process.
He got a friendly.
That's all right. Thank you. Yes, I got a friendly. Rach, what's happening?
Just enjoying the evening.
I know. I'm sorry that you were so quiet during the Ian interview. Did you enjoy that?
I did.
You're sort of a Marillion fan.
I am now.
She is more now. She admitted to me during the break that she has been rocking out to the Misplaced Childhood album recently and really enjoying it.
That's the one I chose.
Very proud of you. Very proud of you.
Sampled a few, and that's the one I ran with.
That would have been the record I would have went with, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the record I like a lot.
I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Always nice to have a new band to dive into.
Right.
I mean,
especially one with a catalog like that, where it's not like you only have one record to go to. You can go to, 25 albums.
and according to Joe, it's like, depending on what era, he said it's kind of like a different band.
I feel like the official spokesman.
You are.
I'm like the Marillion sales pitch guy.
You are.
Hit Marillion.com, find a better way of life.
But obviously it's working because people are calling in with
That's true. That was
having
pretty
had
cool.
a better way of life.
That's right.
That was pretty cool. But other than Marillion, what's going on in the music news, Rachel?
Okay, well, there's big news in the Van Halen camp.
Tell us about it.
All right. So Van Halen will be headlining the Soundwave Revolution Tour in Australia. And there will be 5 dates in all, and it's running from late September to early October.
Now, let's talk about that for a second, shall we?
Yes.
This is the weirdest fucking bill I've ever seen in my life.
I was thinking the same thing. I randomly went through it. This Moment is playing.
Right. Okay, so you have Van Halen headlining with, let's see, Bad Religion, the Cro-Mags, Danzig, Dashboard Confessional, Devin Townsend, Every Time I Die, Face to Face, Funeral for a Friend. I mean, hell yeah.
Panic at the Disco on the same bill with Alice Cooper and Van Halen. What does that even look like?
What is wrong with these people? Seriously. Van Halen hasn't played a gig in, how long has it been since the last Van Halen tour? 5 years?
No, I think that was like 3 years ago.
Okay, 3 years. It should have been 5.
The word is that they've been in the studio, they're working on some new music, and actually,
it's done, right?
Actually, the word wasn't even that it was necessarily new music, that it was new recordings, but at least the rumor was that they were going back into the studio to do some of those 1976 pre-first album songs that never got recorded, things that they used to play at the Whiskey and at Kazari's and some of those early club songs. So at least that was the rumor. So we may be hearing, classic Eddie Van Halen riffs again, but with modern day recordings.
Yeah. On the same bill as fucking hell yeah. Really?
Yeah, right?
That's what makes me uncomfortable. I mean, I'd like to see Van Halen do a real tour. I'm in. You're in. Rach is in.
Yeah, definitely.
Star Sailor.
Yeah, but this is more like Van Woofy. Not,
Well, Joe will tell you, as long as Dave's in it, then it's really Van Halen.
Bosdy bop.
Because Joe loves Dave.
You love Dave, too. We all love Dave. We all have a special place in our heart.
Yes, I do. It's called 7-Eleven. That's my special place for David Roth. Well, at least they're playing out live, so that means we're going to get a tour here, which is good. But it just is this is the weirdest. When I saw this, I couldn't believe it. Alice Cooper, Van Halen, and Face to Face and
Now,
Bad Religion.
Is this a tour that you're familiar with? I mean, are these are they going to have that over a course of the 5 days, or is that where you're going to get every single show?
Yeah, I don't know.
Bands?
I think this is the inaugural run of this particular festival in Australia. The Soundwave Revolution Tour I've not heard of. I know they've always had their annual, I think they call it the Big Day Out,
which is like 5 or 6 shows.
Which is over a couple of days. This, as far as I know, is a new festival, and it sounds like whoever the booker is very confused.
But let me tell you, listen, I'm pretty familiar with a lot of these bands. I can't put together the night that Van Halen plays. I couldn't put together 10 of those 10 bands that Van Halen makes sense to play with on this bill.
But if they're headlining, I mean, they're
So they're going to play with Alice Cooper. They'll play with Alter Bridge
and Hole
and Hole.
And Hole, is that even? Do they have? Is it just Courtney Love as Hole?
They'll play with. What are they going to play with? Hollywood Undead. In this moment, really?
In this moment,
really? So
next,
fucking aggravating.
Next,
they're bound to like somebody.
Yeah, I'm annoyed. What else you got, Rach?
Well, we have another arrest. Yeah, I feel like this is
it's the police blotter.
Exactly.
Is this the weekly update on Vince Neil? Is that where we're going?
Well, this time it's Sebastian Bach.
Oh, that's right. Again. Right.
He was pulled over for erratic driving in New Jersey, and they found marijuana and paraphernalia, drug paraphernalia.
Oh, not Marillion paraphernalia.
Not Marillion paraphernalia. Yeah, exactly.
Would that be funny?
Yeah. They bust somebody with pot and a Misplaced Childhood T-shirt. That would be funny.
He's a tool. Don't you think?
Pretty much.
It's sort of done with Sebastian Bach now.
We're over it. I think that's the only thing that's really keeping him in the headlines. It certainly isn't his voice anymore.
The last time I saw him, when he opened for Guns N' Roses at the Universal, it was awful. That guy used to be a really good. That guy could sing. He was like a legitimate, real singer.
Back when he was a girl.
Now all he does, but now hang on, wait.
I hate to break this to you.
What?
It's no longer the Universal. It's the Gibson. I hate to break it to you.
Oh yeah.
Thoughts?
I just ignore that now. I can't do it. It's like Irvine Meadows. I can't do that anymore. He just screamed the whole time, and it's such a drag because he was a really good singer.
He was,
and I just think he's blown himself out. Either that or he couldn't hear himself and he was just having a bad night. But it was awful. The vocals on that "Slave to the Grind" record are a perfect example. I think that's a really great metal record and great metal vocals, but he tries to sing those songs live now. It's just pathetic.
But he was like 19 when he did that, right?
Yeah,
that was like 90.
Didn't John Bon Jovi sign them? He signed them in Cinderella.
Didn't Derek Schulman sign them?
We signed Bon Jovi, but Bon Jovi had their own label through Mercury, and they signed Cinderella and they signed Skid Row.
This is the business portion of the
and let's not forget they signed Rush. Mercury.
Oh, Mercury signed Rush. That's right. Yes, the first home, the original home.
The original home.
For Rush. Wasn't that Moon Records?
Moon Records.
Thank you very much,
yes,
ladies and gentlemen.
Very nice. Good trivia.
Thank you. See, I'm not always the dumb one in the group. Well, most of the time I'm the dumb one in the group, but I pulled one out of my ass that time.
Somebody has to look good.
That's right. I'm no doubts. You guys are the brains behind the operation. I'm just the schmuck that talks every once in a while. Go ahead. What else you got, Rach?
Okay, so there is the first ever Kiss cruise. Wet, Wild, and Rockin'.
Really? That's what they're billing it as?
Yeah.
Wet, Wild, and Rockin'?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not with Dawkin', but they're rockin'.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It set sails October 13th, and it's going through the Bahamas. And punchline is that Kiss isn't going to be there at all, hosting, performing, anything. So it's going to be
it's mini
Kiss
Kiss
music. Mini Kiss, they're booked.
Kiss.
So it's rock and roll all night and poolside every day?
Exactly.
Wow.
Typical Gene Simmons.
Do you think that anybody will accidentally get thrown overboard so they could get buried in their little Kiss casket?
Oh my God.
What do you think? You think that's part of the deal?
Buried at sea in your Kiss casket.
Right.
Wow. I don't know.
You think Osama bin Laden was buried in his Kiss casket? No? He was buried at sea, right?
I wish he had a Kiss casket.
Of course he did.
He would earn just a little bit of indie cred if he had a Kiss casket. Just a little. Just a little.
That's a big casket. That guy was a big guy. He's like 6'8" or something. 6'6".
You got to fit him in 17 Virgins in there too.
Yeah.
Right.
He's about as tall. He was about as tall as Gene was with the heels on, with the destroyer boots on. Pretty cool stuff.
All right.
Good stuff. So he's buried face up in his Kiss casket. Osama, way to go, pal.
All right. Very nice. Very proud of you.
Yeah, no interest in the Kiss cruise. It's another money grab for those bums.
Especially because they don't show up.
That's why I had to mention it. That's the punchline.
It's
they're
funny.
not even there.
You know, we just had Ian in here. We've talked about the Marillion conventions and sort of the things they do and how accessible they are and how much effort they put into creating an environment for their fans who come from all around the world for this. And other bands have done cruises. I know there was the Mosley cruise, right? Which is basically the booze cruise.
This is your chance to cruise with the crew.
and Skid Row, I think, did one.
There's a
and
package cruise with all
Nickelback,
those
I think,
bands.
even did one.
Yeah.
So a lot of bands have done this kind of thing.
But they usually have
show up, right? They usually show up.
Well, our friend Francis
Maybe
Sonnery
Nick will
does
show
it.
up.
Yeah, even Francis
does his tour, and he plays. He does 2 or 3 shows, and then he does guitar clinics, and he does all sorts of stuff. I mean, there's the Jam Cruise, which is like 7 or 8 jam bands. They play every night. They play long sets. I mean, at least there's some value. What's the value of the Kiss Cruise?
The value is 1,800 like-minded people all wearing Kiss T-shirts off the coast of Cabo San Lucas having a pina colada and listening to The Elder at the same time.
Now that's why the ship will never make it back. if The Elder is the song, if The Elder is the fucking song or the record that's played on that Kiss Cruise, it's over.
Well, they'll probably, over the duration of a 3 or 4 day cruise, they'll probably just be piping in the entire catalog, over a period of time. But it begs the question of like what kind of events they could have if the band isn't actually showing up. Obviously, they'll have a Kiss tribute one night. They'll probably show Kiss Meets the Phantom one night in the big ballroom on a big screen.
It says there'll be theme nights.
Yeah.
So that's all you're getting. You're getting theme nights. You're getting the music, and you're getting the common
costume,
love of being in the Kiss Army, I suppose.
The costume ball one night.
Sebastian Bach might be there. I mean,
isn't
he the number one fan?
True.
Yeah.
You know what this sounds like to me?
What?
Halloween.
Yeah, right? Halloween on a cruise ship with everybody, with like 80% of the people dressed up as Gene and Paul, and just a handful of Aces and Peters walking around, and there'll be like 2 guys wearing the Eric Carr makeup, and people that are like just average fans going, who are you supposed to be? You don't get it. I'm Eric Carr. I'm the Egyptian god. Well, you kind of look like Peter the cat and a little bit like Ace the space guy. But no, I'm Eric Carr. I'm the Egyptian god. Don't you get? Oh no, he was the fox, right?
Yeah.
Who was the Egyptian god? Oh, that was Vinny.
Oh, right. Vinny
Vincent was the Egyptian god. That's right.
Is that pre-invasion or post-invasion?
That was pre-invasion.
Pre-invasion.
Yeah, that was on, God, when was that? That was like Creatures of the Night. Yeah. They brought in Vinnie Vincent, and he was the Egyptian god.
And that was pre-Mark Slaughter, who sang on the Vinnie Vincent records.
Yes, he did.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And everybody in this room has seen the Vinnie Vincent Invasion video of Boys Will Be Boys, where the guy sets himself on fire at the end of the video. No. It's the greatest video because it's just this really average, band performance video. Really standard stuff. And then at the end of the video, for absolutely no reason at all, a guy lights himself on fire in the background and runs across the stage. I just, to this day, I look at it and I just lose my cookies. I just go, really? What was that? What was the logic there? Well, the producer said, I think we need a little something big at the end. We need a big finish here.
And that's what they came up with.
They came up with that. Let's light somebody on fire and have them run across the stage. Maybe Vinnie Vincent's Invasion will play on the Kiss Cruise, and he'll just be, bombarded with fans for autographs and giving him accolades and that kind of thing. And they'll all say, "Come on, dude, just one more time. Put on the Egyptian god makeup for us, just once more, and then light yourself on fire and jump in the pool."
I'm putting an end to this. We've spent way too much fucking time on this. I cannot believe we've spent all this time on a Kiss cruise that they're not even going to be on. Is that unbelievable?
We spent more time on it than they will.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, what else is going on, Rach?
Well, more news in the Mastodon camp.
Oh, good.
Guitarist and /singer for Mastodon, Brett Hines, has just announced...
Wait, Slash is singing now for Mastodon? Is that what you said? I'm just checking.
Oh boy. Okay.
It's a tough crowd.
He's going to release a double CD, and it's titled Brett Hines Presents Fiend Without a Face, West End Motel. That comes out on June 7th. And it's more, I listened to some of it. It's available for some streaming online. And it kind of has he doesn't sing on this. He plays the guitar, and it's more of like a bluesy vibe.
Is it instrumental? Or is there somebody singing?
No, there is somebody singing.
Who's singing?
I
don't know.
I don't know.
It's not Slash.
Yeah,
though.
So it's weird. So this is Brett. This is his solo project.
Well, it was a pre-existing band before he had anything to do with Mastodon. I think when he was much younger, and they kind of were kicking around ideas and decided, hey, let's do this. Let's record something. And maybe that explains why he's not doing as much writing on the new Mastodon album.
No, I'm
sorry. I'm just trying to figure out who we're listening to in the background here.
Asia.
What album is this off of?
Aqua.
Oh, this is the John Payne years.
What record is it? It's Aqua, Joe.
Well, it could have been Alpha or Aqua or Antiqua or Archiva.
It's Aqua.
Okay, Aqua. Yeah, this is the John Payne years. No John Wetton in the room when this was recorded. No John Wetton. No Carl Palmer either. Steve Howe made a cameo appearance.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
I throw you for a loop with this? I'm surprised.
You did. You did. I'm not too well versed in the Aqua album.
Look, man, it's always nice when you can go to. We were listening to Earl Greyhound for a second there, and now we go into little Asia, the Aqua years.
The Aqua years.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
Earl Greyhound.
Have you heard Earl Greyhound?
No, but when I'm like,
sounds like a good cup of tea.
Exactly.
Though,
right? Yeah, right. It's that's what Jean-Luc Picard drinks. Make it so.
Engage.
Number one. Yeah, it's Earl Greyhound is great. I'm surprised. I will get you a copy of the Earl Greyhound. It's like a 3-piece. It's the original drummer for the Roots.
Oh, really?
And it's a 3-piece with a female bass player. I believe she's a bass player. She's the bass player, the guitar player. And it's nuts. It's great. It's like really good sort of garage indie rock funk.
Oh,
and the playing is fantastic on it.
Really?
Yeah. My only complaint about it is it sounds technical. My only complaint is it sounds like shit. I just think the records are produced poorly. But
like it sounds like it was made in a garage.
Yeah. They just it's all
but you
muddy.
You kind of like that, like the early Motley Crue sounds like it was done in a garage. But it has that rawness to it.
It's fuzzy.
Oh.
And it's a 3-piece, so there's only so much you can get away. There's only so long I can listen to that.
Right.
And the songs are great. The record, what's it called? Suspicious Package, I think, is the last record.
Ooh.
And the first 2 songs, Eyes of Cassandra 1 and 2,
I'm
great.
interested.
They're right up your alley, Joe, actually. That's in fact, it's what I thought of you when I was listening to him to begin with. Really, really good stuff. So.
You know what you might like? I had a few weeks ago I had talked about the Dropkick Murphys. They were having Bruce Springsteen guesting on their album.
Yeah.
When actually they had him help. He co-wrote some songs on that album, and it's a whole concept album. It's their most recent album that came out. I think I have it jotted down.
Did you say the Dropkick Murphys?
The Dropkick Murphys
have a concept album?
It's a concept album, and it's
wow.
blah, 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 blah.
Not the kind of band I would expect to go with a sort of a theme record.
Is there a band in the history of that genre, in the history of that ska kind of punk rock ska genre, that has done a concept record?
That's a good question.
Would you?
But I don't think they're the same Dropkick Murphys that you heard 10, 15 years ago.
So they're not ska band anymore.
They're not the Mighty Boss Tones?
They're like kind of have mellowed out. I would call it more. It resembles old Dropkick, but it's more like folky. Like, let's sit down and
more bagpipes in there.
Well, it is. It is kind of more of like that traditional, like Irish sound.
I still can't
in, like,
fathom a
folk-
concept album there. Can you? I mean, that's hard to wrap my head around.
That's odd.
Okay, so the concept is basically about an immigrant from Ireland who comes to the States.
That's a stretch.
So, I mean, it's not a far stretch, but it's based.
I'm teasing.
It's actually based off a novel from the 1800s. So
It's actually based on the storyline from Asia's Aqua album. It's about
the immigrant swam.
Yes, yeah, and he was rescued by someone on a kiss cruise.
He was looking for Carl Palmer and John Wetton, but he couldn't quite find them.
That's right. They were nowhere to be seen in the Aqua era.
Right, and then he bumped into Gene Simmons and realized it wasn't really Gene because he's nowhere on the cruise.
Good concept. Soon to be made into a major motion picture.
That's right. You heard it here first on Used Bin Radio. Well, that's interesting. Rach, go back to that for a sec because now I want to hear that record.
Yeah.
Is it out?
It's out.
The
It's
Dropkick
actually.
Murphys concept album is out?
It was actually, it was on, I think, the Billboard, number 6 or something.
Number 6 what?
Where were we?
Like number 6.
Selling records?
Selling records! Absolutely.
Wow, not sweating bullets, but selling records?
Exactly.
Wow, I have no clue. How did we miss that? I'm in.
Yeah.
I need to find
It's
that.
really, like I said, it's really mellow. It's not, don't go into it thinking you're listening to, like, Dropkick.
Old school, right?
Yeah,
okay.
you know.
Consider me in. I'm totally in. I'm in.
Yeah.
So interested in that.
It's a departure.
Okay.
I mean, and I'm a huge,
And
like
it's
I
not
said,
Journey.
a do or die.
Right.
Huge fan. So
Right. Okay.
it's different, but you guys might like it.
Sold.
Yeah. There you
Done.
go.
Yep.
There you go.
Okay. You got another one for us?
Well, actually,
She gave us the sneaky look, like she's gonna
pulling out the big guns.
Okay, it's not.
It means it's either gonna be a Tool story.
No, it's not that big. It's not that big. But there's two. You know, they've been. You know, there's been a lot of films, a lot of autobiographies coming out, and filmmaker David Markey has released a 1-hour documentary with some footage from the road of Black Flag on their final tour from 1986. Now,
I'm in.
I am a Rollins fan. I love Black Flag. I love old punk rock. Excited.
Bigger fan of Rollins era or pre-Rollins era?
Well, there's a soft spot in my heart for the Black Flag. I don't really particularly care for Rollins by himself in the Rollins band.
Yeah.
Love the energy, though. You know, that's a guy you don't have to know any of the music, and you'll enjoy the show.
Yeah.
But
or you'll be really angry.
Yeah. I'm with you. And I want to hear more about this documentary, but just since we're on the topic, I really tried to embrace, because I liked Black Flag in the earliest days. I mean, Damaged I think is a great record, and some of those early singles before they even did record or did full albums, when they were doing like Jealous Again and that early stuff. I love that stuff. And when Henry came in, and I know he was a huge fan before he was even in the band, I really tried to embrace that, but for some reason I didn't get it. It was like they were teetering on punk with a little bit of like almost like a glossy 80s metal thing. I wasn't sure what to make of it. And since then, now that he's a cultural icon and such a huge figure, and I really enjoy Henry, the person, and his spoken word and everything he does and stands for, but I don't love the Rollins band, with the exception of the song Liar, which I love that.
Who doesn't like that one?
But even now, when I go back and I listen to some of the Black Flag stuff, I just don't really get it, the Henry years, but I love the early stuff.
Yeah.
So, for what it's worth, I'd be very curious to see the documentary. So where do we got to go to see that, and what's it called?
Go online. Go online. It's called...
They're giving it away. You don't even have to buy a DVD.
Yeah, you don't even have to.
They're giving it away.
It's called Reality 86. 86 apostrophe D. So
Got it.
.com.
So was that that must have been a U.S. tour? I don't know that Black Flag ever went abroad. I don't know that question. It seemed like they
spent
a lot of those.
time in North America. In fact, they said that they were always constantly chasing REM. They would always play 2 days later. They'd always be the next billing on the show. And they're like, for maybe like 10 years that was going on.
Yeah. I think I concur with everything you guys just said. I really want to love the Rollins stuff because I like him and he's interesting and intriguing, and I want to know more about what's going on with him, and I want to know about his writing and his spoken word and everything. And so naturally, he's such a music fan and extremely smart when it comes to music. I mean, he really knows a lot about music, and so I want to like his music. I just can't quite get there. I remember seeing him at Lollapalooza on the first Lollapalooza, and he was, couldn't take your eyes off the guy because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I wasn't sure how this was going to work, and he went on at 2 in the afternoon or 1 in the afternoon. I mean, he was the first artist on the first Lollapalooza, and he was great. He comes out in those short shorts and he's ripped to shreds.
Like
and
an animal.
He's got that microphone, the microphone wrapped around his wrist. You know what I mean? Around his hand, and I mean, he is a caged animal, and you never know what's going to happen. It just doesn't deliver. For me personally, you know what I mean?
It falls flat.
Yeah, for me it does.
Yeah.
For me.
On a lot of his spoken word albums and in his live shows of the spoken word, he always has a lot of great stories about the Black Flag era. And I enjoy those stories more than actually listening to some of the music, unfortunately. Yeah. But he has great stories about just that, wrapping the mic, around his fist and coming out there with full animal force, and it being just a totally dangerous and provocative situation. And yeah, he's going through the Black Flag catalog of songs, but I don't know, it just didn't work for me musically. Yeah.
He's an amazing orator. He's an incredible storyteller, and he's perfected that throughout. I mean, I know he's been doing spoken word for a million years, but and I think that he, and he talks a lot about his relationship with Ian MacKaye in the spoken word, and these incredible, amazing stories about him and Ian growing up in Washington D.C. and in the Black Flag days, and I mean, he's an incredible storyteller, and whether you agree with him or don't agree with him politically or not, he's extremely left-leaning, but it doesn't matter. He's so engaging.
Exactly.
And I just wish I could get there with the music, and unfortunately I can't, but I wouldn't say a bad thing about it.
Right.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I concur.
There you go. All right. Do you want to do, would you like to do another story, or would we like to move on?
I have a story that's worth kicking around for just a moment. Not much of a story. I think at this point, pretty much everybody knows about it. But if you've been under a rock, you might not have heard that Pink Floyd reunited over the last couple of days. Pretty big stuff, actually. We'd known for a long time. It had been announced that on one night, not to be announced which night, of the Roger Waters Wall tour, he was going to bring out David Gilmour to reprise his guitar solo on "Comfortably Numb," which he performs at the top of the massive wall. So everybody was curious as to when that would finally happen. There were a lot of people theorizing that it would be in London, and in fact it was. But what nobody really saw coming is that not only did he sing his parts in "Comfortably Numb" and perform the guitar solo, but Nick Mason was also there. So it was a full-fledged Pink Floyd reunion of the 3 surviving members on stage, and then they also came back out at the end for the final song, which I forget what it's called. Behind the Wall,
yeah.
In the Flesh, Part 6, whatever. But
Overture Part 36.
That's on the Neil Morse album.
Record,
yeah,
right.
But so that's pretty big. Now they've all made it very clear this was a one-off, and then they're not going to do anything like that again. But I hope they filmed it. I sure hope they did. I mean, there's videos on YouTube, of course, from the fans, but I sure hope that's filmed. And if it's not the actual show that we end up with on the DVD that's ultimately going to come out from this wall tour, I hope it's at least a bonus feature on that DVD, because I want that.
Yeah,
that's a good piece of history.
Sure. No, I'm with you. I think it's neat, and it's something we all knew was coming, and unfortunately they did the obvious, which was they did it right in smack in the middle of London, in the middle of the London shows, but whatever, it's great. I mean, it's just neat to see them on stage. It's so funny the how the roles have reversed in that band, where it used to be that Roger Waters wants absolutely nothing to do with David Gilmour, and he's just not interested in that. And now you hear more and more about Roger Waters being so willing to do a Floyd tour or to do shows or to do whatever, but it's just not in the cards for Gilmour, not interested, and it's too bad, because the people that end up losing are us, unfortunately. So when you get these little moments, if you haven't seen it yet, you should go check it out on YouTube, because it is, when you get these little moments, you have to latch onto them, because I don't think you'll see this kind of thing ever again unless it's a real special thing like a Live 8 kind of thing. And I'm not sure they would do a Live 8 type of scenario again either.
No, I don't think they'll ever do anything that would have the Pink Floyd name on it, because this was Glorified Waters' tour. He just happened to bring on two of his old bandmates. I don't think, because Richard Wright has passed, he passed in 2008, I don't think, out of respect, they'll ever do anything again that could be construed as Pink Floyd.
I agree.
So I think the Floyd is done. But just as a cute little trivia question, do you know what the last song that Waters and Gilmour performed together prior to last week's Comfortably Numb reunion?
All right, hold on a second. The question is, what was the last song?
The last song those two performed on stage together prior to Comfortably Numb a couple of nights ago.
Gilmour and Waters? It was at the David Gilmour benefit concert that he did a couple...
That's right.
Right, about a year ago, because this was him repaying the favor.
That's right.
That was the deal. So I would have to think back, and I don't know if I even know that set, but I'm assuming that it was an extremely old, like maybe even Wish You Were Here, or something having to do with Syd Barrett. Right or wrong?
Wrong. That's a good guess and good deduction, but no, it was actually where Gilmour was performing, and he called up Waters on stage, and together they performed an acoustic version of a Phil Spector song called "To Know Him Is to Love Him." Interesting trivia.
And was that to Syd Barrett? Was that for a Sydney thing?
That was for from David to Roger. To know him is to love him.
Wow. Okay. That is interesting. You would not expect that, that's for sure. Well, I sure wish that we would get something more like that, but I don't think we will. Not in our lifetime. Anyway.
And then they performed Asia's Aqua album in its entirety.
That's right. And swam across the lotion. There you go. Good job tonight, Rach.
Thanks.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Joe Mama, let's do that.
You want to do that? Yeah. Okay. So let me cue this up for you, because you're gonna like this. You're gonna like this. Here we go. Maybe. Okay, wait a minute. Let me try that one more time.
Hey! Hola! Isn't it about time you own your own website, Joe?
Yes.
Hey, Rach.
Yes?
Isn't it about time you own your own website?
Absolutely.
You know, it seems like everyone's got one these days. So my question to both of you is, what are you waiting for?
A deal.
A deal. Tell us, Brad, do you have a deal for us?
Settle down, kids. Settle down, class. Let's say you have a business. Maybe you're in a hot new band. Maybe you're a hot new chick. Or maybe you just discovered some smoking hot naked photos of yourself on the internet that you want to share with the world. Now's your chance. Because thanks to our partnership with GoDaddy.com, it's never been easier to get a friendly or to get online and get your balls rolling.
Nice!
Now, we can get the balls on your back, and we're here to help. So here's the deal,
But can you get the balls off the back?
If you're a seal, you can. Okay. Here's the deal. First, head over to purerockradio.net/
Not Axel.
GoDaddy, then enter coupon code POD
167
at the time of purchase, and just because you listen to this goddamn show, you're going to get how much off?
10%.
Everybody together, how much are you going to get off?
10%.
And then you're going to get 10% off. How cool is that?
Pretty cool.
Awesome.
Now, maybe you're thinking, man, I really want my own site, but I don't know anything about
my own site. Sorry, I was just thinking out loud.
Yeah, that's okay. I understand. You have to control your inner monologue. But I don't know anything about setting up a web page. Fear not, friends. It's a piece of cake. Because GoDaddy offers so many free tools. Danny Carey's birthday was just the other day, to help you create your site and get yourself up. Plus, every time you use coupon code POD
167,
you'll be supporting Usebin Radio and our pals at purerockradio.net. So,
hi, pals.
So, good Peter Gabriel record. Check out the complete list of coupon codes at purerockradio.net/
Not Axel.
GoDaddy. And be sure to say hi to your mom and to your mom for us. And so on, and so on, and so on.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Crack this up, though. This is fucking good right here. This is a nice way to start to wrap things up. Right? Well, all right. It's been an incredibly eventful evening. Ian Mosley ruling the world. He ruled all your Marillion worlds. I hope you guys got all your questions answered. If you sent emails in or if you tried to call in and we couldn't get to you, I apologize. It wasn't done intentionally. Let me tell you that we still have about 10 minutes or so. So if you want to call and you want to talk to us, or if you just want to... What's that? No. Okay. If you want to talk to Rachel, call us at 888-405-7440. You can still send us an email. We can try to get that on the air as well at usedbinradio@usedbin.com. And, we can get all your stuff answered. I wanted to tell you something about a couple of things I was listening to, and one of them was that Earl Greyhound record, because I'm excited for both of you guys to hear that, especially because it's just kooky. And oddly enough, Leah turned me on to that, and I say oddly enough, not in a bad way, but it's just odd that Leah would turn me on to a weird, like, fuzzy rock indie band. Usually I expect to get turned on to the new Three Doors Down, or something like that.
She's not handing you any Magma CDs?
No, well, she was, but she said, no, I'm keeping this for myself.
We have her to thank for Asia Aqua tonight, don't we?
She probably liked that record, actually. She might like, I don't know, it might be a little too cheese for her. That's nice. You can crank that up, yeah. But anyway, so I'm excited for you guys to hear the Earl Greyhound record, and there was some nice response on our Used Bin Radio Facebook page about Earl Greyhound, because I wasn't sure who they were. So I appreciate everybody coming to the party with that. Also, I have in my possession, which Joe Mama now has in his possession, which Rachel will have in her possession soon, a copy, and I'm not even hiding it. It's a freaking bootleg of the Prince show that we were at, the first Prince show that we went, which was night 2 of the 21 Night Stand, which had that epic 30-minute kind of jazz fusion thing at the beginning that Joe and I were gushing about the other week. And to thank for that, I have Darren to thank for that. That's right.
Thank you, Darren.
He was a star. He had mentioned to me, again on the Facebook page, that he'd seen that online. And so I went and I dug it up and I downloaded it, and it's special.
I would be willing to bet that they've since taken it down, because there are two bands in my many years of bootleg experience. There are two acts, I should say, that are notoriously good about having their legal people remove any trace of bootleg material from the internet, and that's Led Zeppelin and Prince. They just don't want that stuff out there. And yet, ironically, Led Zeppelin is probably one of the most bootlegged classic rock bands around. Sure. Virtually every show that they played during the 10 years that they were together as a band, virtually every show is available in some form of audience or soundboard or video recording. It's all out there if you're looking. Prince, equally, there's a ton of stuff available in trading circles, I know, but online, if you see it, grab it, because it's going to be brought down very quickly.
That's so funny, because on the site that I went to, and I don't even know the name of it, so I'm not hiding anything, but
princebootleg.com.
Yeah, no,
which is an empty page, right?
I'm sure. I don't know. Honest to God, I googled it, and I googled the date of our show, and somehow I got there. But so I'm not hiding anything. But there's a million copies of every show. I found a ton of stuff.
Wow.
It was like a treasure trove of Prince shows.
Nice.
Yeah, so that actually surprises me, and I wonder why that is. Especially, listen, when you get a band that is so anal about not wanting to be bootlegged, they're going to be one of the more bootlegged bands out there. It just seems to be the way people are. That's our nature.
Yeah, because if you're a Grateful Dead fan, it's so easy to get your hands on any show. You just basically, phone a friend. Or look up any one of the many trading pages, right, and you could say, hey, do you have Berkeley 72? No, the third night.
Right.
And they'll go, yeah, okay, well, hook me up. And you want cassette, or you want a FLAC, or you want MP3s, or should I send you some discs? And you can do your little trade.
I'm just surprised that Prince isn't like that. I don't know why that is, but it just surprises me, because he's so, willing to be spontaneous, that it just surprises me that he's not willing to let people listen to that stuff. And he's such a pro. His band are such pros. It's not. What's he hiding? You know what I mean? So it's all about Control. He's a slave, remember?
No, Control, that was Janet Jackson.
Damn.
Yes, I'm just saying.
God damn.
She doesn't like bootlegs either. But She probably doesn't sing on them anyway. I'm just saying.
Who? Janet?
Yeah. Does she sing live?
Yes.
Yeah?
I think so.
So if Janet and Brittany did a tour together, they'd have to have 2 different sound crews?
Yeah, well, no, they have one board, and one hits the play button and the stop button, and the other one doesn't, right? I mean, remember I was listening to Howard, the Howard Stern a couple of weeks ago, or whatever, and he had Cara DeGuardi on, the old judge from American Idol last season, and Cara is such an accomplished songwriter. She's written tons of hit songs for a ton of people, but she was talking about
and a book
that she has out now, which is what she was out promoting, right? But she was talking about, was it Ashley Simpson? Isn't that the one that lip synced on Saturday Night Live?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
SNL. She ended up doing like a little jig when the jig was up.
Right. And she said, and she totally defended her, and she said that, the problem was that she was really sick that night, and her manager should have told her not to go and play. They should have canceled the gig because she was really sick. But no. She said that she was going to go ahead and do it, and then it was the drummer's fault because he hit the wrong button at the wrong time. And quite honestly, as obviously I'm fairly defiant about people doing what they say they're going to do when it comes to that. It made me more angry that would be the case. You really thought that you could get one over on everybody, and then you're going to blame the fucking 22-year-old drummer on top of it? Is absolutely no excuse.
It's like they're both evading the issue. It's not that she was lip syncing. It's that her lip sync track was cued by the wrong guy at the wrong time or something. At the end of the day, you were going to be lip syncing.
The buck stops with you.
Yeah. They just dropped the needle on the wrong song, and you weren't prepared. That's all.
How annoying is that?
Yeah.
So drives me through the roof, and I know that I got a talking to about music snobbery a little while ago. So I should clarify a little bit. I'm not a snob as far as liking Britney or not liking Britney. I'm a snob when it comes to you telling me that you're doing something and you're not doing it. So just to clarify, if you're going to put your name on the record, I want you to perform on the record. Otherwise, you should be like the Pussycat Dolls, who I have no problem with. They're a collective group that, doesn't claim to do anything. So that's fine with me. And I don't even hate the Spice Girls, you know what I mean? I think they sing their own songs and all of that kind of stuff. I don't have to like it. That's a totally different deal. But at least they have the nuts to go out there and perform their own stuff, and that's my issue.
That's fair. And interesting, we were talking about Prince a minute ago, and interesting that you just brought up the Pussycat Dolls. I don't know if I mentioned to you, but when I went like a week later to see another one of the Prince 21 Nights in L.A. shows, and I can't remember her name, Nicole or something like that, the original
Schwarzenegger.
The lead singer of the Pussycat Dolls, who I guess she left to pursue her, to pursue Dave Navarro, to pursue her solo endeavors. She actually came up on stage and duetted with Prince that night at the Forum. And she was actually really good. So, he's been bringing up a lot of special guests. Is it wrong to wish that he brings up Nicki Minaj one night to do Darling Nikki? I just think it would be cool.
That would be great.
But he's banned from playing that song ever again.
Yeah, he says he's in rehab, so he won't play it again.
He'll play it on the guitar. He'll start the song and then quickly go into another song.
Yeah, that's what he did when we saw him. It's weird. Yeah. You know what I watched too? I know we're going to wrap this thing up, but I wanted to tell you, I watched, and I know this will make somebody in the Joe Mama camp sort of happy. It was on satellite or whatever, was the Taylor Hicks Live at Something show. It was pretty good. I mean, you and I saw him go up and play harmonica with the Black Crowes. He didn't sing, but he played harmonica. It was really good. But you know what? Those songs that he wrote on his little independent record, the last album that he did, they're not horrible. And he's not horrible at all. I mean, he's a very decent singer. He's got a lot of soul. Look, man, I was pretty impressed. He's probably the most hated American Idol winner of all time. I think that dude's pretty good.
I mean, I'm a little out of the loop on American Idol history or whatever, but is that true? Is he one of the most hated guys? I wouldn't have thought that.
Really?
I don't think there's anybody who's won that show that is more like, Didn't that girl Fantasia didn't her life become a train wreck or something? Yeah, but she's a big Broadway star.
Oh, is that right?
In The Color Purple.
Is that right? Yeah. And Justin Guarini, is he loved by America?
Didn't win.
He didn't win. Oh, okay. All right, that's fair.
Kelly Clarkson won that year.
Oh, of course. That was the first year.
Right.
Yeah. I got to brush up. I'm waiting for the 10 box sets.
Right. I'm just saying that. I mean, he's maybe. Yeah, I mean, Simon was so hard on him that year, so I think
You
that
said
might be
Simon
why.
was hard.
Yeah, he was really tough on Taylor Hicks. He did not like him and didn't want him to win. So I think that may be why he was disliked. But you know, man, I would give that record another chance, and I would be interested in listening to that record again. I was fairly impressed. I just wanted to say that. See, I'm not closed-minded.
No, you're not a musical snob. Not at all.
Thank you.
No.
You better have my back.
I got your back. I'm being totally honest here. You are not a musical snob. You have diverse tastes. You have insightful comments and commentary, and turned me on to some good tunes that I've never heard before, and I thank you, my brother.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I would like to turn everybody that's listening on to us to some great tunes by going to usedbin.com and checking out the podcasts so you can listen to previous episodes and all the wonderful tunes that Brad plays during the discussions. Now I'm just kissing ass.
All right, a couple thank yous before we get the hell out of here. Rich at Pure Rock Radio, thank you very much. Terry Edwards and Max Krasny at Westwood One, thank you guys.
Thank you, boys.
Nice to see Max tonight, by the way. We had a nice surprise appearance by Max in here. Rob Wilson and Chris Stone for usedbin.com.
Thanks, guys.
Because Joe said you can get a better way of life there.
Yes.
And I want to thank your mom, and I want to thank your mom, and I want to thank my mom. And Rachel, you were awesome tonight.
Thank you, guys.
I want to thank Lucy Jordash for bringing Ian Mosley, legendary Marillion drummer, into the studio for what was really a lot of fun. I had a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed that half as much as I did.
Well, there's not a chance we enjoyed it half as much, but it's not because we didn't enjoy it. That's because you were overwhelmed with excitement.
It was all good times.
Absolutely.
It was all good times.
He was great.
But I guess that's about our cue. So, brother man, it's been nice to see you.
As always, Joe Mama and Rachel, I say to you both, to see you, nice. See you next week, everybody. Good night.
Used Bin Radio. What are you listening to?
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
You're listening to a live internet broadcast on Pure Rock Radio.